Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is story about what if Hinata found Naruto after he was beaten by the village part 1. Before I start, please do support for more amazing content and comments for part 2. Do consider to subscribe my channel and share my video to your friends and check out the description as well. Let's start the video. Naruto laughed as he ran down a side alley that smelled like drunks had used it the night before. Mixing Tabasco sauce into their sake had worked out better than he had planned. The bar's patrons had been ready to rip into the bartender before one had seen him watching from across the street. He stopped and waited for the merchants to catch up. It looked like he had lost a couple dozen on his stroll. Over the years he had come to enjoy the chase as much as the prank. And sometimes they made it too easy. The merchants blocked the alley glaring at him. He leaned against a brick wall with faded graffiti. They were waiting for more of their friends to catch up before they made a move, but that didn't stop them yelling at him. Damn it, you know how much high-quality sake you ruined? I know there was nothing high-quality about that Toad Slim you were drinking. Besides, I did you a favor. Don't you know it's shameful to be drinking this early? Naruto said, thumbing his nose at them. Several looked ready to explode. The only shameful thing here is you. But we know how to fix that, don't we, boys? The remainder of his drinking buddies roared and charged down the alley. Naruto jumped onto a trash can and grabbed a fire escape, climbing towards the roof. The merchants tried to follow. The first few to reach the trash can knocked it over. The garbage stained their clothes. They didn't seem to mind the smell of rotten fruit and fish. More of them pushed against their friends, shoving them onto the ground with the trash. A few had the idea of standing under the fire escape and jumped towards the ladder. None of them managed more than a few inches. One particularly inebriated man glared at Naruto and took a swing of sake, the same sake they had been chasing Naruto for. He spit out the tainted liquid on another merchant's back, who spun around and punched him. Soon everyone who could stand was throwing their fists. Naruto watched until he heard a whistle on the street. Someone had noticed the drunkards finally and sounded the alarm. Naruto ran across the roofs, heading for a small park near the academy to lay low for a few hours. Someone was bound to come looking for him for starting that mess. That was if any of them remembered why they were there in the first place. He settled into the crock between some branches to take a nap while he waited. He dozed as the afternoon passed quietly. He had decided it was safe to leave his hiding spot when a hand shot between the branches, grabbing his ankle and pulled him from the tree. He landed hard, rolled, and sprung up ready to fight. A person in all black and a cheap festival mask watched him. Naruto talked while he planned his escape. "What's the big idea pulling me out of the tree like that?" The figure cocked its head, then pointed behind Naruto. The blonde shinobi drew a kunai. "You think I'm gonna fall for that?" Something struck his shoulder. He sprawled on the ground. His arm went numb. Struggling, he got back to his feet, facing the mob of drunken men. They seemed to have picked up quite a few sober people along the way. Most were armed with broken boards and branches. Naruto watched as they spread out so he couldn't run. He figured it was time to try a bluff. Quickly, Naruto went through a series of hand signs. They didn't mean anything, but he was betting the mob wouldn't know that. "You guys want to fight? Fine, I can spare some time to kick your butts." "Cut the crap. We all know you can't use ninja stuff for the crap of a ninja's worth of shit," a drunk said, swaying as he shouted in Naruto's general direction. Another one hit the first drunk's head. "Knock it off, Daisuke. You're making us look bad." "Hey, why don't we knock the demon off instead?" someone shouted. The mob cheered and closed in around Naruto. He ducked the first swing of a board, but another caught his leg. Feeling was returning to his arm, but all he had was a pins and needle sensation, which was for the best as he used his arm to block a thick branch. He rolled and kicked, sending two attackers to the ground. Behind them was a break in the crowd and he ran for it. A large drunken man stumbled into his path and brought a rotten stick down towards his head. Naruto grabbed the branch and yanked it from the surprised man. Wire wrapped around his wrist and pulled him back. It bit deep into his skin, slicing through muscle. It felt like his bones were being cut. Droplets of blood flew from his wrists as he was hauled towards the tree at an incredible speed. He slammed into the bark hard enough to bruise a rib. The masked shinobi drove a three-pronged kunai into Naruto's hands, trapping him against the tree, then stepped back as the mob descended. Naruto couldn't hold back a scream as his hands were shredded. Hinata walked out of the academy. She had spent the past few hours studying in the school's library. It wasn't as comprehensive as her clan's, but she was less likely to meet anyone from her family there. And the slight chance she might run into her fellow student Naruto didn't hurt either. Though the only time she had ever seen him in the library was to hide after a prank had backfired. She smiled at the memory of him ducking under the table she was sitting at. Several shouting people following moments later. Their screams of anger died when they saw Hinata. They quickly bowed and apologized before leaving almost as quickly. Naruto had popped up, flashed her a grin and thanked her, then ran in the opposite direction. It was the only time she could remember having been glad to have been born into the Hyuga clan. Her smile faded as she once again thought about how even the small amounts of time she was with Naruto was about to end. They were almost ready for the genin exam. There was no doubt about her passing. The exam was more of a formality. The academy wouldn't dare hold a Hyuga back no matter how poorly they might perform. Naruto, on the other hand, had already taken the test and failed multiple times. which if Hinata was honest with herself about she wasn't too upset with. Because it gave them the chance to be on the same team if he passed this time. Not that she deserved to be on the same team as him, not when she had just admitted to herself she was glad for his failure. As much as she wished they could be on the same team, she'd never wished for Naruto to be saddled with a useless backstabbing Hyuga like herself. She shook those thoughts from her mind. She was going to be on someone's team, and she had to try and pull her weight. Naruto never let his failures get to him, he just kept pushing through and she had to as well. A slight detour led her to a park where her cousin Niji sometimes trained his Byakugan. Distance markers had been set up in the park and surrounding neighborhoods. Hinata activated her own Byakugan and began looking for all the markers. Her father demanded that she not only be able to find people but objects, as well. The Byakugan's natural tendency to focus on chakra made this exceedingly difficult. But one chakra network in particular caught her eye. When she was 8 and had first began to train with her Byakugan, her father had taken her to the hospital and made her watch the patients in the ICU as their chakra networks had flickered, dimmed and faded. As they died, she had been forced to watch for hours again and again until she had finally collapsed from exhaustion. The chakra she saw now looked like theirs, pulsing and dimming. The person was close, in the park. She hesitated. If she went for help they might die before someone came. If she went to help she'd lose time, but she might be able to do something. She knew the academy's basic medical techniques. Naruto would help them. She ran towards the chakra signature. What she found caused her to stop short and simultaneously want to vomit and faint. Naruto was leaning against a tree. A 3-pronged kunai had been driven through his hands so he couldn't fall over. His arms, face, shirt, and lap were covered in blood from deep cuts on his wrists. He moaned weakly and tried to shift his position. The wire wrapped around his wrists bit deeper, bringing fresh blood. The goggles he always wore were caked with blood, one lens cracked. A broken sake bottle lay next to him, its jagged end covered in blood leading back to a deep twisted gash on his side. His face, what she could see of him under the blood, was swollen and discolored, one eye completely forced closed. The metallic scent of blood stung her throat. Naruto-kun. She rushed forward and pulled the kunai out of his hands. The wire cut deeper as he sagged forward. She quickly cut the wire with the kunai. Once he was free, he toppled over. Hinata pulled the bandage off her leg that most shinobi wore under their kunai pouch and used it to stop the worst of his bleeding from his wrists. She scooped him up in the position taught at the academy for transporting a severely injured teammate. She ran from the park, jumping onto a nearby roof and moving towards the hospital. "Hold on, Naruto-kun, I will get you help. Just hold on, please hold on. I know you can do it. Please, please, please don't leave me alone again." She moved at a speed that would have put any other student to shame. Hinata burst through the doors into the hospital. "Please help, Naruto-kun was attacked." Several nurses and doctors turned to look at her, but no one moved to help. A few looked away ashamed. More pretended to not have heard her. The worst though were the ones that actually looked glad to see Naruto in such a state. "Please, he needs help or he'll die." "Serves that thing right," said a patient sitting in a chair near Hinata. Because her hands were busy with Naruto, she kicked his chair and sent him sprawling on the ground. He gave a startled cry and was prepared to shout his outrage until he saw her eyes. As quick as he could, he crawled backward out of the room. A few nurses joined him, starting to question which of the children before them had the demon. "You heard the girl," shouted another doctor striding into the room. No one moved. "That's an order. Anyone who doesn't want to follow it is dismissed here and now." Suddenly everyone was rushing to get a gurney and equipment. The doctor and a nurse eased Naruto off of Hinata. She collapsed from exhaustion before they had him secured on the gurney. Sarutobi, the third Hokage, sat attempting to paint a panoramic view of the village in one of his rare free moments between the tedious paperwork that seemed to be breeding in his office. He should really have someone look into it. Enko tended to enjoy strange and dangerous creatures. Sarutobi removed his pipe from his mouth and sighed. He was having difficulties capturing the wonder he once saw, just another sign he had been at the job for too long. A masked ANBU agent appeared next to him. "Hokage, sir. There is an issue with Naruto." "What is it this time? Did he slip more red dye into the women's showers at the academy?" Sarutobi said. He had actually found that prank enjoyable. "I am afraid not. He was brought to the hospital earlier in critical condition." "We are." The ANBU agent never finished. Sarutobi was already moving with a speed that should have been all but impossible for anyone, let alone a man of his advanced age. Even his personal bodyguards were unable to keep up, much to their dismay and embarrassment. It would take barrels of sake to keep anyone who saw their failure quiet. The doctor was writing a few last notes on Naruto's papers when Sarutobi appeared in the hospital room. "What is Naruto's condition?" "Stable, but it was close this time. Massive blood loss, deep lacerations on his wrists. Luckily, somehow his ulnar artery wasn't severed. Stabbed through both hands with a kunai. Stomach cute with a bottle. 3 bruised ribs, dislocated shoulder, and in general having the crap beat out of him. By all rights he should be dead. It's the 3rd time in 2 years he's been in this situation." He paused to make sure they were alone. "There is one other thing. It appears that beyond his natural healing, a mild healing jutsu was applied to keep him alive before he was found. Sarutobi sank into a chair. He hadn't imagined things were that bad, not after he had assigned an ANBU to guard the boy. He would have to look into why they hadn't intervened. Who brought him in? A young girl. She can't be older than Naruto. She brought him in through the front doors covered in his blood. It was interesting. I've treated a few Hyuga in my time, but the look she gave another patient when they said that Naruto had gotten what he deserved would have put any of her clan to shame. The doctor said, "Is she still here? I would like to thank her and hear how she came to find him," Sarutobi said. The doctor gestured to a small couch partially hidden behind a curtain. Hinata lay on it unconscious. Physically she's fine, but she passed out as soon as we had Naruto. We really weren't sure what to do with her, so we decided to let her sleep for now. Sarutobi looked at the sleeping girl. She lacked the scowl most Hyugas seemed to have, and their clan was not known for generosity within the village. That, along with the fact most people would simply have ignored Naruto, had stirred his curiosity. He set a hand on Hinata's forehead. "No, Mark, a member of the main branch." As her eyes fluttered open, he recalled who she was. Hinata, the eldest daughter of the clan's head. It was also then he realized he had been actively avoiding the Hyuga clan over recent years, rarely seeing them outside of the council meetings. He could hardly believe how much Hinata had grown. Hinata's eyes fluttered open, stared at the Hokage for a moment before she recognized him. She nearly fell off the couch as she tried to sit up and bow at the same time. "Honorable Hokage-sama, calm yourself, there is no need to be so formal," he reassured her. Seeing a flustered Hyuga was quite a sight. "Yes, sir," Hinata said. "At least he hasn't called me out for my mistake and disrespectful greeting. I understand you are the one who brought Naruto here. Please tell me how you came to find him," Sarutobi said, kneeling down so their eyes were level. "Yes, sir, Hokage-sama," she said. Starting with walking to the park, practicing, noticing the dying chakra, finding Naruto, and bringing him to the hospital. She was tempted not to mention how she acted, but was sure he had already been informed of her dishonorable behavior, and withholding any information was a grave crime. She watched the third's face as she spoke, but it was an almost perfect mask. She barely caught the flicker of emotion when she mentioned the kunai. "Are you positive the kunai had 3 prongs?" Sarutobi said. Only his years of council meetings allowed him to keep his face calm. "His injuries support the claim," the doctor said. Sarutobi nodded and turned back to Hinata, carefully watching her reaction. Thankfully, she did not seem to realize the significance of the weapon. "Thank you. I have one last question. Why did you help him?" I am afraid I do not understand the question, Honorable Hokage-sama," Hinata said. "It is no secret that many of your peers dislike Naruto. As shameful as it may be, I feel many would have ignored Naruto in his distress. So why didn't you?" Sarutobi said. In truth, he thought several might have assisted in some way, but for his purposes it was better that Hinata did not know that. "I couldn't. I am sorry if I have done something wrong, but I would do the same again. Naruto has done nothing to deserve his treatment. He has pulled a few pranks, but he is always working hard, training into the night to try and become a shinobi. Anyone who would willingly leave someone, especially Naruto-kun, in that situation has no business being a shinobi." She hadn't realized she had raised her voice until she finished. "Oh Kami," I yelled in front of the Hokage. I yelled at the Hokage. "What will my father do when he finds out about this? Will he even get the chance? The Hokage could simply arrange for me to disappear after my actions." To her surprise, though, the old man was smiling. "It's not often that I have heard it put in such terms, but you are correct. Thank you for helping him when he needed you." It was nothing, Honorable Hokage-sama. Naruto-kun would have done the same for me," Hinata said, thanking her ancestors that he had not taken offense. Given her treatment by the elders, though, she suspected that her ancestors would be as disappointed as they were. The Hokage looked at Naruto, his face wrapped in bandages. "Yes, I think that he would, Honorable Hokage-sama." Who would do something like this to Naruto-kun?" Hinata said. "I have a few ideas, but that is a matter for me to deal with. For now, you should return to your clan." He rested a hand on Hinata's shoulder. "You have done a great service to the village today. Thank you, Honorable Hokage-sama. Will Naruto-kun be alright?" Hinata said, looking at her crush covered in bandages. At least he seemed to be sleeping peacefully. "Yes, you saved his life today. Not many can say they have done as such," he said. Hinata bowed again and paused to look at Naruto wrapped in thick bandages one last time. She didn't linger, knowing the Hokage was observing her. The Hokage waited until Hinata had left and signaled one of his guards, an ANBU called Cobra. The oversized hood on his jacket bagged around his neck, mimicking a cobra's hood. Sarutobi used him for sensitive errands. Retrieve the kunai used against Naruto and locate Sparrow. Cobra bowed and disappeared. The Hokage retired to an office he kept at the hospital for such incidents. It was only a few minutes before Cobra returned, followed by Sparrow. Cobra presented the bloody kunai to the Hokage. "I found Sparrow near the kunai under a powerful genjutsu." Sparrow report, Sarutobi said, examining the kunai. "I followed Naruto as he fled from the victims of his latest prank. He was able to escape them with relative ease. The last sighting I had of him was in the late afternoon, while he concealed himself in a tree. I have no memory after that until Cobra discovered me," Sparrow said. He was embarrassed that he had been caught in a genjutsu, even such a powerful one. He had always considered himself fairly adept at them himself. Sarutobi frowned and dismissed Sparrow. He began a series of minor jutsus designed to gather information about an item, including the people who had handled it recently. The military police had designed them decades ago. Sadly, most were lost with the Uchiha clan. When he finished, he leaned back. There were no traces of whoever had used it against Naruto. "What do you make of this Cobra?" Over the years, Sarutobi had come to use Cobra as a sounding board for complex problems. "I believe we have two separate problems. There have been guards who simply refused to help Naruto, or even positioned him for ambushes. This problem has decreased since he began the academy, and his skills at avoiding capture have increased. Even I have had difficulties following him because of his unorthodox movements. The larger problem is the systematic attack against him, and those guarding him. Considering the methods and severity of the attacks, it appears that the goal is torture rather than death. The culprits are skilled, waiting until he has a new guard and a group of civilians after him before using non-lethal genjutsu to incapacitate his guards," Cobra said. Pulling out his pipe, Sarutobi placed it in his mouth without lighting it. "Post a new guard while he is here." "Yes, sir. Is that really one of the forts?" Cobra said. "No, it is the same design, however it lacks the seal he placed on all of his kunai. Not many people would know that, however nearly everyone would recognize the design," Sarutobi said. "Fate had a cruel humor to use it against Naruto. If a civilian had found it, things could have become even more difficult. As it stood, he was dealing with someone or a group that was acting directly against his laws. The Hyuga compound, because really it was its own fortress within the village, was only a few blocks from the hospital. In fact, the whole Hyuga compound was surrounded by businesses and public buildings. Few people wanted to live near an entire clan that could see through walls whenever they wanted. Though as a rule the Hyugas rarely looked beyond their own ramparts. Hinata's jacket was covered in Naruto's blood, so she stopped off at a laundry-mat one of the branch members had told her about. Her father demanded perfection, which included remaining clean while achieving it. He thought to get dirty was beneath the Hyuga. As a result, several members of the clan, her included, stashed spare clothes there. The owners of the laundry-mat, an elderly couple, didn't mind because they received a good deal of business in exchange for their silence. Hinata quickly changed into clean clothes and left her old ones to be washed. The elderly woman gave her an odd look when she handed over the blood-stained jacket but didn't ask questions. The arrangement was business and nothing more. The branch guards at the gate gave Hinata a slight nod as she passed them. She had hoped to avoid her father and sneak to her room. But as soon as she opened the front door, she found him waiting. "You are very late. The academy let out several hours ago." "Explain." "I am sorry. I was training and lost track of time." Hinata knew her father would scold her for sinking so low as to help someone outside of the clan. Despite what the Hokage may have said to her, "Do you have anything to show for your training?" he said, not bothering to keep the contempt from his voice. Hinata thought of Naruto in the hospital, still alive, the Hokage's smile. He would see those things as weakness. "No, father, I do not. I expect nothing from you, and yet you continue to disappoint me. You will receive no meal tonight. I would like to have an elder spar with you since you clearly wish to improve, futile as it may be, but the elders will be joining your sister and I for an important dinner," he said. Hinata nodded. She remembered when she had accompanied him and her clan to such events. But it had been years since she was instructed to come. Now she was an embarrassment, to be hidden away. In her room, Hinata sat with her legs drawn up hugging a pillow. She tried to focus on Naruto, ignoring the voice in the back of her mind that told her she was a failure, a disappointment. Even the distance she could see was frowned upon by her clan. But on a whim she turned her gaze towards the hospital and Naruto's room. Surprisingly, she could just see him. Not as clearly as if she were there, but enough to watch the slow rise and fall of his chest. Someone else entered the hospital room. Hinata watched them even though she couldn't tell what they were doing. "I'm sure it's just a nurse, or someone checking on him." Her instincts told her to investigate. It was ridiculous, but Hinata climbed out her window and made her way along the roofs towards Naruto's hospital room. The second figure had left when Hinata crouched on his window and pushed it open. "If only I could do this well when my family was watching." As soon as she entered the room, something tingled in her nose, a smell she recognized from one of her family's numerous lessons on poison. If there was any doubt, Naruto lay on the bed, white and gasping for breath. Blue veins stood out along his throat. Hinata ran down the hall, towards the nearest chakra signature that wasn't a patient. She rounded a corner and found the doctor who had treated Naruto. He blinked in surprise. "Visiting hours ended several hours ago. Naruto-kun's been poisoned," Hinata said. The doctor ran past her into his room, checking Naruto's pulse and his strangled breathing. He hit a button on the wall. Somewhere else a buzzer went off and feet ran towards them. The doctor gave the nurses instructions. While one went to get an antidote, the other got a ventilation bag and compressed Naruto's chest while the doctor used the bag to force air into Naruto's lungs. Hinata watched. She didn't want to see this, but she couldn't bring herself to leave. These could be his final moments. All the possibilities of them together began to fade. Her eyes blurred with tears and her throat tightened. Her front was burning, her back freezing. Stupid, you're not crying for Naruto, you're crying for yourself. And all the chances you will be losing. What kind of person are you? If you'd come sooner, he'd be alright. The second nurse returned and jabbed a needle into Naruto's arm. For several minutes nothing happened, then he began to breathe on his own again. The doctor sighed with relief, then noticed Hinata was still standing in the corner. That's twice you've saved his life. What were you doing here though? Hinata explained, blushing when she admitted she had more or less been spying on Naruto. Well, I suppose it was good that you were watching him. He'll be fine, but without you and his resistance, who knows? The doctor said. Our resistance? Hinata said. The time it took to build up a resistance to poison even with constant exposure was long, not to mention the vast differences in poisons. This isn't the first time something like this has happened. I don't want to impose, it being so late, but would you stay and watch him for a few more minutes? I need to see who is on duty tonight, and clearly Naruto's guards aren't going to help. The doctor said. Oh, of course. Hinata said, sitting in a chair by the bed. She watched the slow, even breathing of her crush, staring hard to reassure herself that he was alive. Every so often she checked the halls and surrounding floors with her Byakugan, but everything seemed calm. The longer the doctor was away, the more daring Hinata became, scooting close to Naruto, resting her hands on the bed, moving some hair out of his face. The swelling from the attack had already disappeared. Absently she traced the whisker marks on his cheeks. Her mind stared to wonder. She imagined leaning over him, lowering her head until her lips touched his. Hinata jumped back, her face burning at the thought. It took several minutes for her to calm down. Naruto-kun. I don't deserve to be with you, but just for now, just for a few minutes, let me pretend. She gently lifted his hand and rested it against her cheek. The Hokage was woken in the middle of the night by news that there had been another attempt on Naruto's life. He had hurried to the hospital where the nurse responsible for poisoning Naruto had been caught and detained by other members of the staff. Sarutobi looked over her sadly. She was young, in her early 20s. Her mother had died on the night the Kyuubi attacked. She glared at the Hokage. It's a monster! A goddamned monster! After everyone it killed, after everyone who has suffered because of it, how can you keep it alive? Is it some sick pet to you? It should be disemboweled. Its guts feed to the crows and the crows burned. You're not a leader. None of you have ever been leaders. Grow a pair of balls and end it. Or let someone else do it. Sarutobi motioned for ANBU agents to remove the ranting girl. The doctor watched her as they lead her away. I am sorry, I knew her parents. It never occurred to me she might actually try something like this. It isn't your fault. The Hokage said, sinking into a chair. If you suspect the worst from everyone, that is all you will ever find. If there is any blame, it lands on me and how I have dealt with this matter. Before I go, I would like to check on Naruto myself. Yes, sir. The doctor said. They were both surprised when they discovered Hinata, asleep, resting her head on Naruto's arm, with a light blush and a smile the Hokage couldn't remember having seen on her, or any Hyuga's face before. He motioned that they should leave the two alone. Has there been any sign of the ANBU guard? Sarutobi said. 2 attacks in one day, things were quickly becoming worse. Not to mention he was down another ANBU, not that I am aware of. The doctor said. Cobra. Sarutobi said. While there was no noticeable movement, the Hokage felt Cobra move to locate the missing guard. He returned quickly. The ANBU left to guard Naruto left his post to investigate a nearby alarm. He felt the boy was safe within the hospital. I believe he was honest. Cobra said. I doubt the timing was coincidence. Sarutobi said. It was too neat. The nurse did not appear to be working with anyone, but he would make sure she spoke to someone from the interrogation and torture department. It would probably be a good idea to send the ANBU as well. They were trained to resist torture, but it would send a message. Place the ANBU on a leave of absence, and make arrangements for him to question. Also, I am placing you on duty as Naruto's guard for the next few days. We cannot afford another attempt on his life. Yes, sir, Hokage. Cobra said. Naruto's whole body throbbed, especially his hands and wrists. Every heartbeat felt like someone was hitting him with a hammer. The smells of bleach and cheap disinfectant stung his nose, and there was a strange pressure on his left arm. He cracked open an eye, wincing at the bright morning light. Why did they paint hospital rooms white? Did they think people liked how bright it made the room? He was suddenly aware that his head was pounding along with the rest of his body. Those drunks must have really done a number on me this time. I haven't felt this bad since they caught me messing with those festival fireworks. He looked over and found a sleeping girl sitting next to his bed, her head on his arm. Her face was flushed, but she had a small smile. He pulled his arm free. The girl stirred. Naruto-kun. Naruto frowned, wondering how she knew his name. He shook her lightly. She looked at him with sleepy eyes. Good morning, Naruto-kun. Good morning, who are you? He asked, his pain pushed aside for the moment. His voice seemed to snap her out of her grogginess. In a second her face went tomato red, she jumped back and dashed out the door. She poked her head around the corner. Why, you're awake, that's good. Naruto stared at the girl, she looked familiar. Then it hit him. You're the weird quiet girl from the academy. Hinata's heart sank. He thinks I'm weird? Now Naruto, that's no way to talk to the person who has saved your life twice. The doctor said. Doc. Naruto said. The doctor walked into the room, ushering Hinata in. This young lady found you in the park and brought you here, then informed me when a nurse poisoned you. That explains why I feel so crappy. Wonder what kind they used this time. He smiled at Hinata. Thank you? Hinata's blush doubled and she fainted. When she came around, she was still in Naruto's hospital room, lying on his bed. The one he had just been in himself. She fought to keep from passing out again. Once was embarrassing enough. Instead she looked around. Naruto was sitting by the window looking out. When he saw her moving, he gave her a giant grin. Most of his bandages had been removed and the ones on his hands were thinner, allowing him to move his fingers. You scared me, just fainting like that. Doc says it's 'cause you spent most of the night. Keep an eye on me. His grin faded and he looked slightly confused. How come? Because I didn't want to see you hurt again. Hinata said, unable to look at him. I get a few words with Naruto and this is all I can say. Father is right, I am useless. Naruto watched Hinata confused. I wonder why she doesn't want to see me hurt. Seems like everyone else enjoys it. He thought bitterly. His mind turned to his freedom from the hospital when the doctor walked in. Well, Naruto, it looks like you're well enough to leave. The doctor said, looking over his chart. But he was half dead yesterday. Hinata protested. He might look better, but no one could heal that fast. Well, yes, but Naruto is a quick healer. We gave up trying to explain it years ago. He'll still need a few days of rest, but if we kept him here, he'd just cause trouble. He gave a knowing look at Naruto. Naruto looked away. Those bedpans had holes in them already. The doctor snorted to cover up a laugh. Since I know you want to get out of here, may I suggest you treat this young lady to lunch as thanks for all the help? Sounds like a plan. You're Hinata, right? Naruto said. She nodded, too surprised to speak. He did know her name. And he was inviting her to luck, just like a date. She struggled to remain calm at the thought. Great, let's go eat. He grabbed her hand and pulled her from the bed. As they moved down the hall, everyone seemed to ignore them, or rather Naruto. Most turned or looked away, the worst looked through him. They were almost at the front entrance when Naruto caught sight of a flash of pink hair. Sakura-chan. Hey Sakura-chan. What are you doing here? She glared at him. If you must know, I came to see Sasuke-chan. He's here having his eyes examined. As the most important person in the village, we have to make sure he's in peak physical condition. But then again, it's Sasuke, so how could it be anything less than perfect? So you want to come to lunch with us? Naruto offered, oblivious to her condescending tone. Sakura laughed. Why would anyone want to be seen with you? You probably scared the little weirdo into coming. Why can't you figure out no one wants you here? She raised her fist and swung it at Naruto's head. Hinata stepped forward and brushed the punch aside. Sakura stumbled and stared at her pale-eyed classmate. I wouldn't mind being seen with Naruto-kun. In fact, I would enjoy it. And I am happy to have him here. What the hell? Normally she would have written it off as an annoyance, but Sasuke was further down the hall watching with mild interest. She refused to back down in front of him. Hinata had started to shake, the moment of courage gone. Sakura cringed. She wasn't a bully by nature, but she had to look strong in front of Sasuke. She threw another punch, this one aimed squarely at Hinata's face with a silent apology. Naruto caught the punch. Sakura blinked in surprise. He had never done that before. She hadn't even thought he could stop her. Do not hurt Hinata-san. Sakura pulled her hand back, giving Naruto a fearful look before dashing away. As soon as she was out of sight, Naruto clutched his hand. Ow, 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 ow. Damn, I thought she was going to break my arm. Are you alright, Naruto-kun? Hinata said. Without thinking, she grabbed his arm, examining it for further injury. I'll be fine, he assured her. Thank you? Hinata said. I can't believe he did that. He protected me. Of course he did. That's just the kind of person he is. If I was worthy of my clan, he wouldn't have had to. Suddenly she realized she was manhandling his arm and let it go with a choked noise. I was just returning the favor for helping me. He took her hand again and led her out of the hospital. Sakura walked down the hall rubbing her hand. She wasn't really hurt, just surprised. Sasuke finished talking to a nurse and turned to leave. She walked faster. Sasuke-kun. How did it go? He gave her an icy glare, but it only sent shivers down her spine. He didn't seem to notice. Fine, how else? That's great. So would you like to go out to lunch with me? Sakura said, trying to match his quick pace. No, he said, walking out the sliding doors. Oh, all right. Then how about lunch? Or dinner? We could go see a movie. Sakura said. I have to train. Sasuke said. All right, want me to help you? We could spare or something. She blushed, imagining where a sparring session could lead if she tripped at the right time, and they ended up on the ground. No, Sasuke said. All right then. Let me know if you change your mind. she called after him, clutching her fists. This was Naruto's fault. She had been hitting him since they started the academy. Why did he have to grow a backbone now? Wait, that wasn't right. She could barely remember her first few days at the academy when she was teased and he had offered to share his lunch with her. Before, her mother had warned her away from him and begun asking questions about Sasuke. But that didn't matter. Damn it! If he hadn't embarrassed me in front of Sasuke-chan, we would be training together, then lunch, he would invite me back to his place and we could. Sakura blushed as red as Hinata at the possibilities and hurried home to write down her fantasy for later enjoyment. Hinata didn't know where Naruto was leading her, nor did she care. Just being able to walk like this, so close to him, was more than she had hoped for. He laughed and talked the whole time, nothing important, just random things. It was so different from her clan where talking was serious and formal. She smiled and nodded politely, amazed at how lively he was. Just yesterday he'd been all but dead. It seemed that nothing could keep him down or get rid of his good humor. But she did notice how people glared at him. Shop owners moved to block their doors and parents pulled their children away as if they feared he would eat them. Naruto pretended not to notice, but Hinata saw him falter, just for a second. He stopped in front of a small ramen stand. He went in and took a seat at an empty stool. Hinata hesitated a moment before following. A young woman behind the counter smiled at them. "Good morning, Naruto." "Hi, I am." Naruto greeted her. "So who's this? Don't tell me you've already gotten a girlfriend?" "I am," said, teasing her favorite customer. Hinata made a squeaking noise as she forgot how to breathe. Naruto just laughed. "No, this is Hinata-san, from the academy. She helped me out yesterday, so I'm treating her to lunch." Hinata's mind was in chaos. She had imagined Naruto as her boyfriend many times, but to hear someone else say it, it was almost too much. Was that what they looked like? There was a chance of it now, small as it might be. At least she was talking to him, an evening eating with him. Suddenly there was a bowl of ramen in front of her. She couldn't even remember what she had ordered. She took an experimental taste. Miso, and it was delicious. As she ate, she watched Naruto. He was already on his third bowl, laughing with the woman and the older man in the kitchen. It was so different than when they were in class. There everyone either ignored him or badmouthed him. Here, though, they listened and laughed. They talked to Naruto like he was just anyone else. And it showed as he opened up more. She realized that in class, even though he was just as goofy, he was also more guarded. She wanted to be able to see this side of Naruto more often. Maybe he'd open up to her like this soon, if she worked at it. Then maybe they could become more. "Hinata-san?" "Hinata-san," Naruto said. I'm sorry." What did you say?" Hinata said. "I asked if the ramen was too spicy." "You got all red again," Naruto said, pressing his hand to her forehead, checking for a fever. "No, it was very good. Thank you for the meal," Hinata said, choking out the words and trying not to faint. This day was quickly becoming too much. "No problem," Naruto said, pulling out a frog-shaped wallet. Hinata couldn't help but smile at it. "Thanks again, Hinata-san." "No problem, Naruto-kun." "So, what are you planning to do for the rest of the day?" Hinata said. "Go home and rest. Doc might not look it, but he's scary when a patient doesn't follow his orders." "Guess I'll see you at the academy," Naruto said. "Yes, good day, Naruto-kun," Hinata said while she watched him stroll down the street. Then walked towards her clan's compound. She could only imagine how angry her father was with her, if anyone had noticed she was missing at all. But after a few hours with Naruto, whatever they might decide to do was worth it. Now she just needed to find a way to keep from being closed off from Naruto again. Naruto woke to a sound that was very rare in his apartment. Someone knocking at the door. He grabbed the kunai he kept under his pillow and rolled to the floor. The few people who were welcome there never bothered to knock. But by the same standard, those who came to try and kill him didn't knock either. At least not the serious ones. Still, it could be an amateur. Or someone trying to throw him off. He opened the door a crack, ready to fight or flee. And found a very red Hinata standing in the hall. "Hinata-san?" "Hello, Naruto-kun. I wanted to thank you for breakfast yesterday, so I made you this," she said, holding out a bento box. He opened the door and let her in. As he closed it again, he realized just how messy his apartment was and wished he'd bothered to clean up the day before. Something that he'd never thought about before. Hinata sat the bento box on the kitchen table, then took in her surroundings. "I can't believe I'm actually in Naruto-kun's apartment." Everything was a mess. It was in such stark contrast to her house, where everything was kept spotless, that she didn't really know what to think. But there was a feel to everything. It all felt like home. Not like some model you had to keep spotless and take care not to do anything that could cause a mess. She wondered if there was anything she could do to make her room feel like this. She turned her attention to Naruto himself. He was wearing sky blue pajamas and a cartoonish sleeping cap. She also took note of the kunai he was holding. He sat down and opened the bento. Inside was rice, pickles, boiled fish, and rolled omelets. "Wow, Hinata-san, this looks great. I hope its taste is acceptable." She watched him take a bite of the rolled omelet. "This is really good. Maybe even better than Ichiraku's." Ah, please don't tell him I said that he might stop feeding me. He said, I won't, I promise. I'm glad you like it. I was afraid it would taste awful. She said, are you kidding? This is great, here, try some. He used his chopsticks and picked up part of a rolled omelet, holding it out for Hinata. She opened her mouth to decline, but he popped it in. Naruto-kun, just feed me, like we're a couple. Her face started to turn red. Naruto watched her worried. Hinata-san? Are you alright? You're not choking, are you? No, I'm fine, thank you. She said, oh good, man, you keep scaring me. He said, I'm sorry. She said. Naruto finished the bento in silence. Thank you for the meal, guess I'd better get to training. He said, are you sure? You were still pretty banged up yesterday. Hinata said, oh yeah, a good day's rest and I'm completely recovered. Naruto scratched his cheek. If you want, we could train together for a bit. Yes. I mean, yes, if it wouldn't be an inconvenience. Hinata said, nope, just let me get ready. Naruto said, disappearing into his room. Hinata sat in his apartment. She was tempted to use her Byakugan to watch Naruto, blushing deeply at the possibilities. When he came back out, Naruto noticed how red Hinata was but wrote it off as more or less normal for her. They walked towards the training grounds. Hinata tried to strike up a conversation, but she couldn't seem to get any words out. Naruto grabbed her arm and pulled her back as something sailed past her head and hit his. Hey, watch where you're throwing things! Naruto shouted after some kids. He wiped a rotten fruit from the side of his head. Sorry about that, Hinata-san. Her heart tightened, he sounded so sad. Like I was his fault, but she couldn't believe it was. Naruto-kun, why do the villagers treat you like that? He shrugged. I don't know, it's just always been that way. I tried to ignore it. They arrived at a secluded training ground. Since he actually had someone to spar with, Naruto suggested they go through some of the basic moves from the academy. Hinata hesitated but then nodded. Okay, Naruto-kun. He paused, wondering why she seemed so nervous. Maybe she's afraid I don't have the skills for even these basic formations? Well, I'll just go all out and show her. They started. Naruto struck his kunai against Hinata's, then ducked under her next swing. After a few more strikes though, he jumped back confused. Is something wrong, Hinata-san? I'm sorry, I'll try to do better. She said, bowing deeply. Hey, it's okay. There's no reason to get all nervous. I was just wondering cause you were a lot faster when you stopped Sakura's punch yesterday. Naruto said. I was? Hinata asked, surprised. Yeah, just relax. He said. They started again. This time going through the motions slower. As they kept going though, Naruto speed up slightly. And again. Until they were moving at full speed. Their kunai a blur, flashing in the sun. They finished the set, both were panting, exhausted. See, you did fine. You could even keep up with me. Thank you, Naruto-kun. Hinata said, blushing at the compliment. So want to try some real sparring? Naruto said. Alright. Hinata said. They started off slow again. Hinata fell into her clan's fighting style, and Naruto was hard-pressed to hold his ground against the onslaught. Then Hinata overextended herself, and he grabbed the upper part of her arm to throw her off balance. What he didn't expect was the scream of pain she gave. He immediately let go. Hinata-san? She winced but tried to smile. Sorry, I'm alright. Let me see your arm. Naruto said. I am fine, really? She said. Hinata. He said. Slowly she removed her oversized jacket. Naruto looked at her arm where he had grabbed her. She had a deep, painful-looking bruise, the edges yellow. Hinata wished he'd stop staring at her like that. What happened, Hinata? He asked. His voice was so gentle and kind, filled with concern that she didn't answer for a minute. Does he generally care about me? No, he's probably just worried about losing a sparring partner. Is he regretting offering to train with me? I was sparring with an elder. Hinata said. This is kind of far to take things for just sparring. Naruto said. Not really. I am just not very good at it. Damn it, why can't I stop stuttering? I must sound like a fool to Naruto-kun. What are you talking about? You were great. He said. I disappoint my family when I spar at home. She said. I can't believe that. Maybe you just need a little more practice. He said. Hinata nodded. She didn't want to admit to Naruto that she had been training for years. Her own family had given up hope on her improving. She pushed the focus from herself. Maybe we should practice for the exam. Naruto didn't look too thrilled with the idea but nodded. Hinata watched for half an hour as Naruto produced one dead-looking shadow clone after another. She couldn't figure out what he was doing wrong. Naruto-kun, wait a minute. I think I might be able to help. How? He said. Byakugan. Hinata said. Wah. Hinata! Your eyes are bulging. Are you alright? Naruto said. Yes. This is my clan's Kekkei Genkai. She said. Kika what guy? He said. Hinata tried to hide her smile. Kekkei Genkai. It's a blood trait. Something that can't be learned by anyone who isn't born with it. Oh, so what's it do? He said. I can see chakra networks in the body. She said. Cool, like X-ray vision? He said. Exactly. she said. Wow, imagine what kind of pranks I could pull with those. So you ever pull anything with them? Naruto said. No, but I did use them, when I was little to find the best prize in my cereal. She said. Way to go. But how will they help me with this stupid jutsu? He said. I can watch your chakra, and maybe see the problem. She said. If you say so. Naruto performed the jutsu again. Hinata watched carefully. Naruto-kun, I think I see the problem. You're putting too much chakra into your right hand. Naruto looked at his bandaged hand. Well, yeah, the academy instructors told me all about how it was my dominate hand and I had to put as much chakra as I could into it to do the jutsu. Hinata shook her head. You have to balance your chakra to do it. What? Really? I guess those instructors weren't trying to help me at all. Damn it, guess it was too much to hope a teacher would actually try and help me. It's alright, Naruto-kun. You have the rest of it down, so you should be able to do it easy. I know you can, she said. He looked skeptical. Well, if you say so. Naruto focused his chakra as best he could and concentrated. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, 2 perfect copies of Naruto stood next to him. They looked at each other then. Oh yeah, I am awesome, they tackle-hugged Hinata. Thank you? We never would have gotten that. You're an awesome teacher. Naruto, 3 of him, hugging me. Hinata passed out. Ah, you killed her. Wouldn't it be us since we're all me? Okay, how does that work exactly? Forget this. The 2 clones dispelled themselves, leaving the original Naruto hugging an unconscious Hinata. Hinata wondered where she was. It was comfy, but it wasn't her bed. She could feel grass under her. A light breeze touched her cheek and warm sun caressed her legs. It occurred to her she could just open her eyes and see, but that would mean moving, and right then lying completely still was her desire. Her pillow shifted slightly. Reluctantly, Hinata opened her eyes to see what was disturbing her peace, and found Naruto staring down at her. It only took Hinata a second to realize she was lying with her head on Naruto's lap. Finally, you've got to stop doing that. You scared me. Naruto was worried about me. And I'm in his lap. Hinata shot up and rolled out of his lap. Sorry, not a problem. Come on, now that I've got this clone jutsu thing down, let's spar some more. Alright, Naruto-kun? Those clones you made were solid. How did you do that? They never taught us at the academy. Even my clan hasn't mentioned it. She said. Oh yeah, one of the instructors said I should learn to do solid clones. That it'd impress everyone and they'd have to let me pass the exam. Naruto said. It is very impressive. There's no way an instructor would actually expect a student to learn that. Were they trying to make Naruto-kun fail? Like with the hand signs? She simply couldn't comprehend why so many people seemed to be working against Naruto. Thanks. You should try it too. I bet you could do it with no problem. Naruto said. I don't think I could manage it. I'm sorry, Naruto-kun, but it's beyond me. Hinata said. Come on, if I can do it then you'd have no problem. Naruto said. Hinata found she couldn't say no to Naruto's support, even if it meant disappointing him. After several failed attempts, she sank to the ground. She knew that Naruto was simply going to walk away and that would be the end of it. Sure enough, when she looked up, Naruto was gone. Stupid, what made me think he might actually stick around when he found out how incompetent I am? He was just being nice, but he has enough to do without being pulled down by me. She was so caught up in her own downward spiral that she didn't notice a figure approaching until they were right next to her. Hinata-san? She jumped up to see Naruto's confused face. Sorry, didn't mean to wake you. Here, I got us some lunch, he said, holding out a bag. What he didn't mention was that he more or less had to steal them from a nearby store. He'd left the money for them, but he knew they'd refused to sell anything to him. Hinata took one of the boxed lunches. I'm surprised you're still here, Naruto-kun. Why? He said. Because I can't do the jutsu. She said. You'd have to be a world-class jerk to abandon someone just cause they don't get something right away. I was working at it for months. He said. Thank you, Naruto-kun. Hinata said, ducking her head so he couldn't see her face. Not sure for what, but any time, he said. Hinata started trying the jutsu again. Naruto made several more clones demonstrating it. To Hinata's embarrassment, the clones seemed content to stick around until she got it. Though she overheard a few plotting the pranks they could pull off now. Just before the sun set, she did it, producing a single solid clone. The clone and original looked at each other in shock. Of course, all the Naruto clones came over to congratulate her. They surrounded her, patting her and her clone on the back. Hinata's clone disappeared and she fainted again. Despite Hinata's desire, when she arrived at the academy the next day, her old habits took over and she took a seat in the back of the room. Naruto was already sitting across the room by the window, trying to balance a pen on his nose. Iruka called the class to order. The morning seemed to drag on. The basic material being covered had been drilled into her brain at the age of 6. Hinata's attention wandered to Naruto again and again. It was during one of these periods that she noticed the change. His bored expression suddenly came alive and he had to struggle not to laugh. 5 minutes later, the classroom door blew in. A red-faced Jonin stood outside. Demon brat. You're in for it this time. Iruka stepped in front of him. What's going on here? That thing. filled the hot springs with bubble bath. We lost the whole block on the village under the suds. I couldn't have been Naruto. He's been here all day. Iruka said. It must have tricked you. I chased it from the hot springs myself until he disappeared in an alley. He has been here all morning. Iruka corrected forcefully. Hold on, sensei. Let me get this straight. I pulled this prank, and then outran a jonin, lost him and made it back here before he did. All while no one noticed I was gone. Maybe you should pass me right now if I can do that. The jonin looked embarrassed. He hadn't thought how it would sound laid out like that. I know it was him. Then file a complaint with the Hokage's office. Because so long as we are on academy grounds I have full jurisdiction over the students. Iruka said. The jonin gave Naruto a disgusted look before he left. Hinata wished she could sneak over to Naruto's desk and ask him how he had managed to pull it off. But she knew she wouldn't. That afternoon they had a special taijutsu lesson, a final review of the academy's basic style. Everyone ran to the schoolyard and formed up in rows taking the basic stance as instructors walked between them. The lesion was going fairly well until one of the instructors reached Naruto. Come on kid, can't you even stand right? Hey, I was doing it just like you showed us. Naruto shot back. Oh, so it's my fault you're stupid? Fine, feet further apart, arms lower, hold them out a little more. No, that foot points and the other goes out. The instructor spent another minute yelling at Naruto. When he moved on, Naruto was slouched over grumbling. Hinata had watched silently. She knew Naruto's stance had been correct. The corrections the instructor had made left him wide open from every angle. She knew she should tell him. Just walk over and tell him. But suddenly she could barely stand. A lifetime of trying to hide and make herself unnoticeable competed with her feelings for Naruto, and her knowledge of what was right. Stupid, what kind of friend would even hesitate? The instructor broke her thoughts. Alright, everyone pair up and spread out. Try a few practice matches. Nice and slow. The students began to take up positions across the yard. A few of the lazier ones simply walked back towards the academy and leaned against the wall. Naruto looked around eagerly, but a space had opened around him. Hinata took a deep breath and walked towards him. No one appeared to be paying attention to her, but she felt like everyone was watching. Naruto-kun. Oh hey Hinata-san. The instructor, he lied to you. She said. Huh, your stance was right the first time. If you fought with the one he told you to, it would be almost impossible to win. She said. Really? Thanks. Naruto said, walking towards where the instructor was reviewing a sheet of paper. Oh Kami, he's going to attack the instructor. Hey teach. Since you helped me with my stance, want to spar? Naruto said. Hinata let out a sigh of relief. Of course he wouldn't do that. But I thought he would. I'm no better than the other villagers. Get lost, kid. He said. Come on, afraid I'll beat you? Naruto said. You couldn't hit me once, brat. He said. You sure? Naruto said. Alright, let's go. I can teach you a bit more today. The instructor said. He drew a large circle in the dirt. First one out. Taijutsu only. Naruto took the flawed stance the instructor had shown him. The instructor smiled. The other students had stopped and gathered around. Hinata saw bets being passed around. Lunches and small amounts of money. The instructor made the first move, charging. Naruto shifted from the flawed stance to the academy's and blocked the instructor with the back of his hand. Then moved in under his guard and lightly slapped his chest. Just enough to show he could. Not one hit. The instructor brought his fist to Naruto's stomach hard enough to lift him off the ground. Naruto vomited and collapsed. You want to play kid, fine. He kicked Naruto, then again, laughing. None of the students knew what to do. Even the ones that disliked Naruto didn't think things should go this far. Hinata made a move to intervene but stopped. If her father found out she had acted against an instructor, stopping another student from hitting Naruto was one thing, but the shame she would bring her clan to act against an authority figure. But she couldn't leave Naruto. Iruka would stop this, but he was probably still in the classroom. Before she could chicken out and grabbed a rock and threw it as hard as she could at the classroom window, which luckily looked out over the yard. The rock went straight through the window, shattering it. The instructor stopped kicking Naruto and looked up. A second later, Iruka appeared at the broken window. What's going on out here? He looked down and saw Naruto. He jumped through the broken window, landing in the circle. What the hell happened here? Just some instruction. Kid wouldn't learn. He was cut off as Iruka slammed a fist into his head. He crumbled to the ground. Iruka picked up Naruto and carried him to the infirmary. Hinata silently followed. After a quick check by the less than thrilled nurse, Naruto was declared fine. He was laying in one of the beds recovering. Iruka-sensei? Hinata said. Oh Hinata, what can I do for you? Iruka said. It was me who threw the rock. I will pay for the window. But it was the only thing I could think of to help him. Hinata said. I see. Well, I think we can take it out of that ex-instructor's final pay. Thank you. Now I need to send someone to get him some clothes. Iruka said. I will. Hinata volunteered. Are you sure? Iruka said. Yes. Hinata said. Alright, hang on, I'll get you his address. Iruka said. That's alright, I know where it is. Hinata said, leaving the room. Hinata moved across the village roofs towards Naruto's apartment. I couldn't stop Naruto from being hurt, but at least I can do this. Naruto's apartment was in the closet thing Konoha had to slums. The buildings were old and run down, broken windows, rusted pipes. She had been so nervous that last time she had been there she hadn't paid much attention to the surroundings. There was no greenery whatsoever. A few window boxes contained dried dead flowers brown with age. The roof of his building had been patched with scrap metal and the walls were filled with cracks between warped wood. His apartment wasn't as messy as Hinata remembered, but it still felt lived in. More like a home than her clan's mansion had in years. But in as bad of shape as the rest of the building. The walls were cracked and there were spots of the ceiling from water damage. A thin rug on the floor had several discolored spots and partially covered a piece of exposed plywood. She took her time walking to his bedroom. It was in the same condition as everything else. An old bed, chipped glass in the window. But sitting on the windowsill was a small potted plant. A tag on the pot read Ukikun. The only thing inside his closet was a box of scrolls and 2 identical orange jumpsuits. She took one and returned to the academy. Naruto had completely recovered by the time she returned and thanked her for the clothes. He pulled a thin curtain around his bed for privacy while he changed. Naruto-kun? She said. Yeah? He said. How did you pull a prank at the hot springs without anyone here noticing? She said. Oh, that. Well, I had the idea a while ago, but wasn't sure how I'd manage to get away. Always seemed to be a lot of jonins hanging around. After you helped me with the Kage Bunshin no Jutsu though, I figured they'd be the perfect way. Have one of them do it then dispel themselves. It worked great too. But it was weird. When my shadow clone disappeared, I suddenly remembered everything it had seen. Almost fell out of my seat laughing at the look on the people's faces as they ran from the bath. He said, pulling the curtain back. His other clothes were stashed in a trash bag he had found. You remember what your clones do? She said. Yeah, you should give it a try. He said. I don't know if I can. Last time used up almost all my chakra. She said. Really? He said. Yes, don't you feel tired after using it? She said. Not really. He said. That must mean you have an incredible amount of chakra. She said. Thanks. Come on, if I don't get back to class soon, Irika will have my head. He said. The next few days continued on like normal. During lessons, Hinata couldn't work up the nerve to talk to Naruto, but after class they would meet at a secluded training ground and spar. Hinata was amazed at Naruto's improvement now that he was balancing his chakra. And Naruto for his part was pleased with Hinata's fighting style. By the 3rd day she could outfight 2 of his clones at once. Naruto's own taijutsu was also improving now that Hinata had pointed out the subtle changes the instructors had made to the academy's style. She quickly realized the only reason he was able to fight at all with his old style was because of his natural stamina and unique attack methods. After an interesting sparring season where Naruto ended up stuck in a tree, they sat down to eat a late lunch Hinata had made. Naruto insisted that afterwards they would practice Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Even though Hinata could only make and hold one for a minute or so. Afterwards she felt as drained as if she had sparred with her father for an hour. The smile Naruto gave her afterwards was worth it. She looked out over the training ground and saw a square rock moving along the edge of the clearing. Naruto-kun? Yeah? Hinata pointed towards the rock. She could see 2 large eye holes in its side now. Naruto turned and looked. Oh, him. Don't worry. He leaned in close. Hey, I've got an idea. Pretend you're talking to me. What do you want me to say? Hinata asked, but Naruto had already walked behind the tree then around the other side. Whoever was in the box couldn't see that he had made a shadow clone that disappeared into the trees. Naruto waved across the clearing. Hey, old man. Naruto said. The 3rd Hokage strolled towards them. Hinata jumped up to bow, but he waved her gesture off. Hinata, Naruto. I have been looking for you. I have decided to make it official. Naruto, I will name you as my successor. What? Said a muffled voice from the square rock. It was tossed aside and a young boy stood glaring at the Hokage. How could you make him the next Hokage and not me? The Hokage looked at his grandson. Then fell to the ground laughing. So did Naruto. The Hokage disappeared in a puff of smoke. That was you! The young boy ran at Naruto. Naruto caught him by the back of his shirt as he ran past. Konohamaru, when you're undercover on a mission you can't give yourself away just cause something unexpected happened. That could get your whole team killed. How was I supposed to know that was you? Last time you could only make a dead clone, you weren't supposed to know it was me. And Hinata helped me with the shadow clones. They're even solid. Check it out. He let go of Konohamaru and summoned 2 shadow clones. They each patted him on the back before disappearing. Wow, boss, that was great. How'd you do it? Konohamaru said. Like I said, Hinata helped me figure it out. Naruto said. Who's Hinata, boss? He said. Oh, right. Konohamaru, this is Hinata. Hinata, this is Konohamaru, the Hokage's grandson. Naruto said. Hinata started to bow, but Naruto stopped her and pulled her away. He doesn't really like people to make a fuss about being related to the Hokage. People always call him honorable grandson and stuff, Hardly anyone even knows his name, but how should I act around him? If I do something disrespectful? She said. She could only imagine what her father would do to her. Relax, he doesn't care about all that proper stuff. Just treat him like any other kid. Naruto said. Alright, how do you treat a normal child? Hinata said. I don't know, just be nice and knock him over the head if he does something stupid. Naruto said. Hinata looked horrified at the thought of hitting someone as important as the Hokage's grandson. Hey boss, Hinata's kind of cute, you and her? Konohamaru said, holding up his little finger. No. Hinata's just a friend. Naruto said. Oh really? Then maybe I'll take her. He said, grabbing Hinata's hand. Cut that out. Naruto said, pulling Konohamaru away from Hinata. Ah, come on boss, I was just kidding. So you still going to play ninja with me? He said. I don't know, me and Hinata were supposed to work on our shadow clones. Naruto said. It's alright, Naruto-kun. It might be fun to play. How about Konohamaru hides and we see who can find him first? Me or your clones? Hinata suggested. Alright, sounds good. You up for it, Konohamaru? Naruto said. Of course. I can show you my awesome ninja camouflage skills, he said, running out of the training ground. So how long should we give him? Naruto said. 10 minutes? Hinata said. Sounds good. Hey, let's make this a little more fun. Loser has to do one thing the winner asks? Sounds good. Hinata said, her mind filling with ideas, none of which she would ever dare say. When the 10 minutes were up, Naruto made 20 clones and took off towards the village. Hinata moved much slower, but she already knew where she was going. Konohamaru smiled to himself. Behind the playground was a dry drainage ditch filled with cattail taller than he was. Hidden by the overgrowth was a small pipe, just big enough for him to crawl through, that lead to a concrete box. The only source of light was a drain in the ceiling. It was the perfect place to hide. He could imagine Naruto running all over the village trying to find him. A hand fell on his shoulder. Got you, ah. Konohamaru jumped away. He turned to find Hinata crouched behind him. This is a very good hiding place, she said. Hold on lady, how did you find me so fast? He said. I just watched you. Hinata said, activating her Byakugan. Ah, your eyes. Oh man, boss is gonna kill me if that's my fault, he said. Hinata couldn't help but laugh at Konohamaru's exaggerated antics. It's alright, it's my clan's Keki Genkai. I can see through some objects, and a very long way. Wow, that's pretty cool, he said. Hinata blushed. It was only the second time someone had called her Byakugan cool. Thank you. Hey, can you teach me that shadow clone thing boss was doing? I can't let my eternal rival get ahead of me, he said. Eternal rival? She said. Yo, we're both aiming for the title of Lord Hokage. Of course I will get it first, he said. If Naruto is your rival, then why do you call him boss? She said. Cause as much as I hate to admit it, he's stronger than me right now. So until I can beat him, I said I'd work for him in exchange for him showing me some super secret techniques. Besides, he's like me, he said. Naruto's like you? She said. Yeah. The village pretty much hates him. Even my tutor Four Eyes says I should stay away from him. Just means they don't know him. We both want the title Lord Hokage so people will recognize us for who we are, he said. Seeing you for who you are, Hinata said, imagining what that would be like. Hey, I know that look, you want to become our rival for the title of Lord Hokage. No, I mean, I wouldn't have what it took to become Hokage, Hinata said. What are you talking about? You found me before boss. Hey, I got it. From now on, Naruto's my eternal rival and you're my new boss, he said. What? But I can't be, I mean Naruto, she said. Come on, let's go find my eternal rival and tell him. I'll be sure to win now that I have you, Konohamaru said, crawling out of the drainage ditch. Hinata followed. Oh no, what if Naruto thinks I stole Konohamaru? He'll hate me for sure. I can't believe this. The first Naruto they found was a clone that quickly dispersed itself. Within minutes, the really Naruto showed up. Ah man, how'd you find him so fast? Naruto said. That's a trade secret, Konohamaru said. And Hinata is my new boss cause she found me first. I guess I won't show you any of my new secret super awesome techniques then, Naruto said. Come on boss, I was just kidding, can't you take a joke? Konohamaru said. Nope, Naruto said. Come on, you're not serious, are you? What if I gave you some valuable intelligence? Konohamaru said. Like what? Naruto said. I saw Four Eyes reading an orange book. When I asked him what it was, he said nothing and wouldn't let me see it. I think it's full of high-level jutsus, Konohamaru said. Tell you what, you get the book and we'll check it out, Naruto said. You got it, boss, he said. They continued to play with Konohamaru until it began to get dark. After he left them for some kind of surprise attack, they went back to the training area to recover their gear. Naruto-kun, I am sorry about today. I didn't know Konohamaru would want to make me his boss. Don't worry about it. That's just how he is. He'll call anyone boss if he thinks they can teach him a new jutsu, Naruto said. That's not true. When he calls you boss, his eyes light up. With you he means it, Hinata said. Naruto scratched his cheek. You think? He guess I'll have to teach him a new jutsu then. The day before the exam they lay panting on the grass, covered in mud with shallow cuts. Each exhausted from going all out. So Hinata-san, want to go get some ramen with me? Yes, I'd like that very much. Great. He got to his feet and helped Hinata up. Over the last few days she had also managed to keep from passing out every time they touched. Not that that helped with her blushing. It was good for her. Naruto had already decided that blushing was just something Hinata tended to do for no apparent reason. On their way to Ichiraku's they heard a commotion from the side of a building. Out of sight of the street, 3 boys had cornered a younger one and had him on the ground. Naruto ran down the alley. Hey, leave him alone. The 3 boys stopped and looked at Naruto, the kid on the ground and back. Hinata smiled, leave it to Naruto, but then the 3 boys helped up the younger one and all 4 attacked Naruto. Hinata froze. She couldn't believe they would just set aside the beating they were giving to her Naruto, or that the younger boy would join them. Then she moved. Naruto hadn't raised a finger against them. Hinata was less forgiving, knocking the first 2 back with an open palm slap. The other 2 turned tail and ran. She knelt next to Naruto. Why didn't you fight back? They were just kids, not like they could do much to me. And I was kind of taken by surprise. He said it with a smile, but she heard the hurt behind his words. Right then she wanted to wrap her arms around him to try and take his pain away. Complete strangers fighting each other would set aside their differences to hurt him. But then he stood up and her chance was gone. The ramen was good, but they were both quiet. Afterwards they said their goodbyes. Naruto-kun, in case I don't get to see you tomorrow before the exam. Good luck. I know you can do it. Of course I can. Thanks to all your help, he said. She blushed and watched him walk away before returning to her own house. Over dinner she had made the decision to ask her father why Naruto was so hated. Surely he would know. If he found it disrespectful for her to ask, well, his disappointment would be nothing new. As expected, her father was not pleased with her being out so late, even if it was for training. He was waiting for her at the entrance to the main house. It was never a good sign when he was waiting. Before she could ask about Naruto, he spoke. You have spent so much time practicing recently, surely you must have something to show for it. You will spar with Hugin, and we shall see the fruits of your labor. Hinata nodded but began to shake. Of all the elders of her family, Hugin was the most violent, delighting in reminding her that she was worthless in their eyes. She quietly followed her father to one of the smaller training rooms and took her spot. Hugin was old and overweight but still a master of her clan's style. His eyes looked dead as he smiled at her. At her father's signal the match began. Hugin drove his hits against her, pressing her back. She could barely keep up with him, remembering all of the past times he had hurt her. Then Naruto flashed in her mind. He said she was fast, strong, and she trusted him. I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. Hugin struck her arm, swiped her feet off the floor and slammed her down. He followed his victory by hitting several chakra points on her stomach. She doubled over, tasting blood, her body racked with pain, back spasming. He casually picked her up by her ankle and tossed her into the training room's wall. The thin screen split under the force of the hit, as she lay on the floor and began to shiver as the rest of her clan left. Eventually she managed to get up and stagger down the hall. Normally after a session like that she would go to her room and try to sleep off the worst of it. But she had made up her mind earlier that she would find out why the village treated Naruto like they did, and she found a new strength to move if it was for him. She walked to her father's study and was about to knock when she heard a noise that she hadn't heard in years. Her father's laugh. She cracked the door and looked in. Hanabi was sitting on their father's lap reading a scroll with him. They were laughing. Anger boiled inside of her. They had never had moments like that. He barely acknowledged her. She walked in standing as straight as she could. Her father and sister stopped and watched her. I apologize for interrupting, but I have a question. There is a boy in my class who is treated very poorly by the village. I was hoping you could tell me why. His name is Naruto Uzumaki. Her father's face darkened. He is a monster, beneath even you. Do not have any contact with him. He is a murderer that thought to escape his crimes, but we saw through his treachery. Do you understand? A murderer? But he wouldn't harm any dash. Enough. The subject is closed, he said. Hinata flinched. Yes, father. Hinata said. She bowed quickly and left. Her father's killing intent had almost caused her to pass out. Naruto's a murderer? It can't be. Not Naruto-kun. He's so gentle, but if the village thinks he's a murderer for some reason, that would explain why they treat him like that. But still, Naruto. There were footsteps behind her. She turned and found Hugin. She tried to look strong but knew she flinched. He just chuckled. It sent chills up her arms. Calm down, I have already reminded you of your worthlessness today. I am here to answer your question, about your classmate. Really? She asked, understandably mistrusting of him. Yes, believe my words if you wish or do not. But that boy is a mistake left behind by the fourth. He is the human form of the demon fox, the Kyubi no Yoko. What? Hinata said. The fourth was not as strong as the stories lead us to believe. He could not kill the demon. Instead he sealed it in a baby, Naruto. The third, for some foolish reason, has kept the creature alive. I suppose so he can be used as a weapon should the need arise. The older members of the village know this, and treat him like the monster he is. The younger ones have picked up on this and done accordingly. Hogan said, Naruto-kun is the Kyuubi? Hinata said, that is what I just said. It is the popular belief that he is biding his time until he is strong enough to assume his true form again. Hogan said, his true form? Hinata said, yes, a giant fox with 9 tails it uses to create tidal waves and landslides. The very earth revolts against its presence. A creature of nothing but hate. It feels nothing else. But by all means associate with it. Perhaps when it reveals its true form it will have the decency to kill you so that you no longer embarrass us. Hogan said, thank you for the warning, respected elder. Hinata said, bowing, then hurrying to her room. Naruto is the Kyuubi. Naruto didn't see Hinata before the exam. One by one the students' names were called and they left to be tested. When his name was called, Naruto walked into the testing room with his normal confidence. The instructors cringed when they saw him. To their surprise, though he did well, a few were impressed. More though wondered how and looked forward to the last 2 tests. They knew he couldn't pass them. They'd made sure of it. Alright, next make 3 shadow clones. They expected to see another half-dead monstrosity standing next to him. Instead they saw a pack of perfect duplicates. Even they weren't sure which one was real. 2 instructors walked around the clones examining them from every angle for flaws. They were all surprised, and a few sickened to discover they were solid. Naruto released them. The instructors frowned, all except one. It didn't matter. The last part would put him in his place. Okay, final test, the art of transformation. You'll need to reproduce a perfect replica, but not of an instructor. Since you are clearly so good you should have no trouble imitating Hinata Hyuga. He had picked the student that stood out the least. Even some of the instructors couldn't really remember what she looked like. Naruto just grinned and transformed into her. I hope this is acceptable, he said, trying to copy her speech and manners. The instructors were dumbfounded. They had her student picture brought in to check it against his transformation. Not that he minded, he felt great having passed the exam. He was sure he had gotten her just right. For some reason her features stood out in his mind. Naruto walked out the doors on cloud 9, holding his new headband. The instructors had spent forever making sure he hadn't somehow cheated. One was even convinced that he was really Hinata trying to cheat for Naruto. It didn't matter though, he was finally a ninja. And Iruka had even said that he'd gotten one of the highest scores of the day. Can you believe they let that thing become a ninja? I know, who would want that thing running around? Just a monster. Should be locked up. Locked up. Left for dead. Can't cut it. Have an accident. The whispered voices followed him as he went over to a tree to watch the families embrace their children after the exam. Naruto-kun. Hinata! I did it! He held up his headband, but the enthusiasm was gone from his voice. Congratulations. I did too, she said, showing him her identical headband. Would you want to go get some ramen? My treat. Won't your family miss you though? He said. No, I'm sure they won't, she said. The offer for free ramen perked Naruto up a little, and he was almost back to his normal self after showing Tucci and Im his headband. Afterwards they walked around the village. They didn't pay attention to where they were going, but eventually they ended up on a small bridge. Naruto stopped and looked at the water. Thanks, Hinata-chan. I was pretty bummed earlier. I overheard some of the villagers talking. Sometimes it seems like I can never prove myself to them. I just wish I knew why they hated me. Hinata was torn, she knew, but she didn't know if she should tell him. Naruto-kun, if someone knew why. No matter what, would you want to know? Of course I would, he said. Last night I asked the elders of my clan. They said. She took a deep breath and pushed it all out at once. It's because the village sees you as the Kyuubi. The fourth sealed it within you and they see you as its human form. Naruto laughed. But it was filled with such a crushing depression that it hit Hinata like a physical blow. That's why. No wonder they all hate me. After everything I did, I killed all those people. How could they even let me live? No. That wasn't you. That was the Kyuubi. You are Naruto-kun, not the Kyuubi, Hinata said. I thought if I worked hard enough, put everything I had into it, that I could earn their respect, become the Hokage. But they'd never let me, not with what I am, Naruto said. Then he did the last thing she expected. He hugged her, and she didn't pass out. His embrace was tight, like he was trying to use her as an anchor for his very existence against everything he had just found out. Thank you for telling me. I'm going home for a while to think about it. I'll see you tomorrow when we find out our teams, okay? Okay, Naruto-kun, Hinata said. Naruto stood in the Hokage's office. The old man looked up and smiled. Naruto, I heard the good news. Finally a ninja? What's wrong? I haven't seen you this depressed since the Chirakus ran out of ramen. I'm never going to be Hokage. I'll never earn the villagers' respect, Naruto said. That's a horrible thing to say. No one can see the future, the Hokage said. I know about the Kyuubi, Naruto said. The third paled. Who told you? It doesn't matter. The villagers would never let me become Hokage. I thought I could push past them with determination, but now that I know what I am. Don't worry, I'm not angry with you, Naruto said. The Hokage set his pipe on his desk. The fourth wanted you to be seen as a hero, the jailer of the beats. Protecting us every day. The village, though, this idiot-filled village of fools, chose to see you as the very thing you protect us from. If you keep working hard, though, there is no reason you can't still win them over. Yes, it will be hard, but I know you can do it. I'm sorry, but I'm leaving the village, Naruto said. The third jumped up and caught him by the arm. Think about what you are doing, Naruto. I have, and I already have. Naruto said. Already have? The third said. Left. Naruto's shadow clone disappeared in a puff of smoke. The third called an ANBU team. Gather all the trackers you can, spread out along the village's borders. I will take a team to Naruto's apartment, and pick up the trail there. Do not under any circumstance harm him. Naruto stuffed a jacket in his bag. He didn't even know what he would need. For the 20th time he was tempted to stay, but there was nothing left in the village for him. He was just a monster that should disappear. There was a knock at his door. He opened it to find Hinata standing in the hall. Hinata-san, what are you doing here? You're going to leave, aren't you? She said. How'd you figure that out? He said. Hinata activated her Byakugan. Oh right, guess I would use them for the same thing. He said. Please don't go. She said. There's no reason for me to stay. The villagers will just keep attacking me. The instructors will do whatever they can to keep me from advancing. Naruto said. Prove them wrong. Keep protecting them. It doesn't matter if they're all against you. I'll help. I'll protect you from the villagers. I can't do much, but I'll do everything I can to make you happy. Hinata said. Thank you, but they just come after you too, Hinata-san. They might even try to kill you too. He turned back to his bag. Hinata wrapped her arms around his chest from behind, resting her head against his back. He couldn't move. For a second he wondered if she had pressed a chakra point, but he knew she hadn't. My family thinks I'm worthless. They gave up on me years ago. But you keep trying to help me. The way they treat me is nothing compared to how the villagers treat you, but you keep smiling. All I do is hide. But since we've been training together, I have been able to at least lift my head again. Just being near you makes me feel stronger. Without you, I'd have already fallen. I love you, Hinata said. Naruto was frozen. She loves me? Hinata-chan? For several long minutes they didn't move. Hinata was sure she had just broken things between them and waited for him to laugh at her, to tell her she was just a creepy weirdo. But that wouldn't matter. She had said it, she had finally done it, and she had no regrets. Finally Naruto spoke. I really don't know what to say. I don't know a lot about love, or anything like that. But I guess if I helped you out, then everything's been worth it so far. But I don't know. I don't know what I should do. If you leave, then I'm coming with you. Hinata said with as much conviction as she could muster. But your family? Naruto said. They are blood relatives, not a family to me. They are only a family when I'm not around. She let go of him and stepped back, pulling up her shit. Naruto's eyes widened in disbelief. Hinata's stomach was covered in deep circular bruises and a long one that ran from her hip up her side, making it hurt to move. They know that I've been training and wanted to see what I had learned. This is what he did to me, after he won. Anger rose in him. All his life he wanted a family, and here was one with a daughter as wonderful as Hinata, and this is what they did to her. Hinata touched Naruto's arm. If it wasn't for you, they gave up hope on me, and so did I. But when I'm with you I get a little stronger. And even if it's just a little bit, it's because of you. You've already done the impossible, making me stronger, so becoming Hokage should be a piece of cake. Naruto was torn. He wanted to leave, but a stronger part needed to stay. To find out what would happen with Hinata and help protect her from her so-called family. Hinata was trembling. She had used up everything she had, laid her heart before Naruto. It was too much, and she collapsed. Naruto caught her and laid her gently on his couch, then sat on the floor leaning against it, thinking. The Hokage and his team rushed into Naruto's apartment, and were surprised to find Hinata asleep on his couch. Along with Naruto leaning against it, one of her arms draped over his shoulder. The Hokage motioned for the others to leave the room, then knelt by Naruto. Naruto reached up and gently brushed Hinata's hand with his. I've changed my mind. Naruto, the paths the two of you have chosen will not be easy, but you can walk them. And I promise that before my time comes this village will see you as the hero you are. Believe it. He rested his head in his hands. Oh Kami, you've even got me doing that now. Hinata woke up early in the morning. There was a moment of panic about what her family would do to her. She hadn't been home since before the exam. But seeing Naruto's sleeping face, and him actually holding her hand, dispelled her fears. Looking around his apartment, she saw the same familiar mess. She was tempted to start cleaning it for him, but didn't know if that would seem pushy. He hadn't really said how he felt about her. Naruto stirred. Good morning. Good morning, Naruto-kun. You stayed? Hinata said. Yeah, I still don't know about any of that stuff, but I guess I can stick it out a while longer and see what happens. Hungry? he said. She nodded her head. Surprisingly, he did have more than ramen in his kitchen, though his milk had expired and she refused to let him use it. Oh come on, what cereal without milk? Naruto said. I could go buy some, Hinata offered. Naruto agreed and gave her some money, insisting since it was for his apartment. While she was gone, he made several shadow clones to clean his apartment. The mess had never bothered him before, but with Hinata around he suddenly wanted it to look clean. After all, he didn't want to scar her away, and that thought led him to another. He really did hope she came over a lot. When Hinata got back, she handed over the milk and change. Naruto stared at it for a moment before laughing. Right, I forgot. Forgot what? Hinata said. The shop owners always charge me double. Naruto said. They do? Hinata said. Yeah, well, the ones that will sell to me at all. I'm so used to it I don't even notice anymore. Naruto said. They ate quietly, Hinata not sure what to do, Naruto lost in thought. So much had happened. I am a ninja, I am the Kyuubi, I am the Kyuubi's jailer. It was all so much to take in, not to mention Hinata's confession to him. He wondered if he should ask the third about it. After breakfast, Naruto told Hinata to go ahead to the academy, and that he'd catch up. He needed to unpack his things. She hesitated but agreed. In truth, that was only half of it. He also didn't want to show up with Hinata at the academy. He was worried that if she was seen with him too often, the villagers might start to bother her too. Naruto paused. Why didn't I ever think of that all those times I asked Sakura out? Of course, this led him to think about how he felt about Sakura now. She was cute, but so was Hinata. He had seen that during their training when she took off her oversized jacket. Being cute was about where the pluses ended for Sakura though. Hinata was nice and smart, she talked to him and never hit him, outside of sparing. He shook his head. This was just too confusing. He defiantly needed to talk to the third about it soon. The third Hokage sat in the council room. To say he was unhappy would be an understatement. First thing that morning, the civilian side of the council called an emergency meeting. While it was within their powers, it was only to be done in the most urgent of situations. And he already had a good idea what this meeting was about. One of the representatives from the banking guild stood. Thank you all for joining us so early. I wish this meeting had never had to be called, but devastating events have occurred. There was mumbling from most of the council as they tried to figure out what these devastating events were. The third took note of several who remained quiet. Clearly they already knew. With a sigh, the Hokage stepped into his role. And what devastating events are you speaking about? Surely if they were really that serious, we would all already know of them. Not everyone has my connections, Honorable Hokage. The event I am speaking of was the attempted defection of Naruto Uzumaki, last night, he said. The council burst into a rage. Ungrateful brat. How dare he, after all we have done for him? Should have known better. He has betrayed us. Enough. The Hokage slammed the table hard enough to lift the far end. Piles of paper filled the air and several council members made grabs for their reports. Naruto did not defect or even attempt to do so. But Honorable Hokage, didn't you personally lead a attacking team to his apartment and dispatch several others to our borders? The representative said. Yes, I received information that Naruto was planning to leave. However, when we arrived at his home, he was there with no intention of leaving. The Hokage said. If the source was not credible, then why were such measures taken? He asked. I was meanly preparing for a worst-case scenario. I can assure you that Naruto is as loyal to this village as anyone here. The Hokage said. I am glad to hear that. Then the second matter in the team assignments for the graduating class. He said. That is a matter for me alone to decide. The Hokage said. I beg to disagree. Among those graduating this year is the last Uchiha. That makes this a matter for everyone. He said. You are overstepping your authority. The Hokage said. But I am not. Said Hayashi, Hinata's father. I have received a copy of the team assignments. While I would normally trust you in such matters, I must disagree with the assignment of my daughter. Placing her on the same team with the demon and the Uchiha, the rest of the council was outraged. The third had hoped his team choice would slip by unnoticed. All of them had issues, but he felt together they could overcome their problems and become the strongest team in over a decade, perhaps even since his own. Plus, they all needed a family. It was a shame that the council didn't see that. How dare you place Sasuke with two children who lack the basic skills needed for a mission? Are you trying to get him killed? You will not speak of my daughter that way, Hayashi said. The civilian side of the council cringed, but most of the shinobi noticed there was no real threat behind it. I request that my daughter be moved to a different team. There is no love between the Hyuga and Uchiha, but even I would not wish her onto him. The council shifted uneasily. They weren't sure what to make of that. And most had been in politics long enough to know how dangerous not knowing where to stand was. The third was not happy. If it had been anyone else he could have refused, but the Hyuga were one of the most influential clans in the village and several council members were under Hyuga thumb. Very well, I will move your daughter to a different team. Naruto, however, will remain. The students fell silent as Naruto entered the classroom. There were surprised mumbles from some, outright glares from others. He ignored them and took a seat in back next to Hinata. She blushed as more eyes turned towards them. Thankfully both of them were saved by a cat fight at the other side of the room. Sakura and Ino had each other by the hair trying to pull their rival away from the empty seat next to Sasuke. Give it up, billboard brow. Ino said. Shut up, Ino pig. Me and Skanska-chan are meant to be. Sakura said. Sasuke-chan. Ino said. Ops, didn't you know that's how our relationship is? Sakura said. Ino grabbed her other hand and they started to spin around until they crashed into the wall. Sakura pinning Ino between herself and the hard surface. Give it up, Iruka coughed for attention. I won't speculate on what you two are doing, but take your seats. Now, they both turned to grab the empty seat next to Sasuke, only to find it already filled by another student. Grumbling, they moved further alone to other empty seats. Iruka surveyed the class to make sure he had their attention. Congratulations. As of today, you are all shinobi of Konohagure, the students cheered. Hinata smiled when Naruto jumped onto the desk yelling as loudly as anyone. Iruka let it go on for several minutes before motioning for their attention. Listen carefully. I'll skip the speech because I am sure your new sensei will give all of you their own version, but remember I am very proud to have taught each and every one of you. He looked at Naruto as he finished. Listen closely for your squad assignments. With each passing team, Naruto became a little more hopeful that he and Hinata would be on the same one. There was no one else in the academy he'd rather work with. Squad 7, Sasuke, Naruto and Hin dash. A puff of smoke cut him off as an ANBU appeared next to him and handed him a paper. Iruka looked it over. You can't be serious. Orders from the Hokage himself. The ANBU said. Fine. Iruka scowled. Squad 7, Sasuke, Naruto, Sakura. Squad 8. Hey, hold on a second. You changed the squad. Naruto shouted. Orders from the Hokage, Naruto. There's nothing I can do. Iruka said. Then get the old man down here and have him explain it himself. Naruto said. Naruto. Show respect for the honorable Hokage. Iruka said. Oh, I'll show him something, I'll show him my. He was cut off as Hinata slapped her hand over his mouth and pulled him back into his seat. Sorry, Iruka-sensei. Hinata said. Thank you. As I was saying, Squad 8. Hinata, Kiba, Shino. The classroom was empty except for Squad 7. They had been told to wait for their new sensei, but that was over an hour ago. Naruto spent most of the time fuming. He was sure Iruka was about to say Hinata before the ANBU appeared. He had already decided to go see the Hokage soon and find out what that change had been about. Sasuke remained a static fixture by the window. Even Sakura's constant attempts at conversation and offers for dates couldn't get him to speak. The door opened and an eraser Naruto had left on top of it earlier hit a man with gray hair. He blinked, his mouth and nose were hidden by a pull-up mask, his headband came down to cover his left eye. He looked at the three young ninjas. Someone must hate me. He could take the Uchiha, in fact he'd practically demanded Sasuke. He could handle his little fangirl too, but the Kyuubi. This was something he just wasn't going to do. How should I put this? My first impression of you three. I hate you. But since I have to at least give you a chance, meet me on the roof. Everyone, that is besides the demon. On the roof they sat facing their sensei. Alright, so tell me a little about yourself. Hobbies, hope, dreams, that whole bucket. I'll even get you started. I'm Kakashi, I have a lot of hobbies, likes and dislikes. And dreams. Alright, your turn. As our only female you can go first. Alright, my name is Sakura, my likes are, well, more of a who. She blushed looking at Sasuke. My hobbies, I can't really tell you. Her blush was almost neon. I hate Naruto, Kakashi smiled. Good, there might be hope for you yet. He looked expectantly at Sasuke. My name, Sasuke Uchiha. I will restore my clan's honor. I don't like much, and I am determined. There is someone I have to kill, Kakashi nodded. As expected, I'm Naruto. I like ramen. And Hinata. Whoa, where did that come from? Naruto? Hello? Is that it? Kakashi said. Sorry, spaced out for a second. I don't like the 3 minutes it takes to make ramen at home. I will become the Hokage and earn the village's respect. Kakashi frowned. No, you won't. None of us would ever follow you. Still, I suppose it is best to have you where I can watch you. And if I lose you on a mission, alright, tomorrow you have your first mission, survival training with me. This will be a little different than what you're used to. No, I won't tell you, you just chicken out. And I should warn you, this is also a test. If you can't cut it, you go back to the academy. Out of your whole class, only 9 will actually advance. So get some sleep, and don't eat breakfast. I hate when kids throw up during training, he said. In a swirl of leaves he was gone, leaving the newly formed team alone at the roof. Sakura pounced on Sasuke. Do you want to go get something to eat? No. I'm going to go train. Sasuke said. Oh, great. I'll come too, Sakura said. Sasuke only grunted as she followed him like a lost puppy. Naruto still felt his old jealousy, but watching them he also felt a strange relief. He shook his head and walked back to his apartment, wondering how Hinata and her new team were doing. He didn't have to wonder long because she was waiting for him outside his apartment. Hinata-san, what are you doing here? I was wondering how you liked your new team. she said. It's okay, our sensei was really late. I wish we'd ended up on the same team. He said. You do? Oh my god, he wants us to be on the same team too. Yeah, you're a lot cooler than Sasuke. And all Sakura did today was glare at me. So how's your team? He said. He thinks I'm cooler than Sasuke. They nice. And Kurenai-sensei is very knowledgeable. So you want to come in and celebrate our teams? Naruto asked. Okay, she said and followed him in. All he had besides cereal though was instant ramen, so he set up 2 cups. When it was done, he raised his cup in a mock toast. To our teams and our first mission. To our teams. Hinata said. So Hinata-san. Did your sensei mention anything about a test? Naruto said. Yes. Tomorrow we have to pass something or we have to go back to the academy. I'm nervous. What if I ruin it for my team? She said. You'll do fine. After all, we've practiced a lot and you're defiantly strong enough to handle anything the village can throw at you. Besides, you're the smartest girl I know. Naruto said. Naruto-kun, I'm really the only girl you know. She said. Oh yeah, well I'm sure you're still the smartest. He said. Thank you, Naruto-kun. I need to be going. My family will be wondering where I've been. Hinata said. You know, if you wanted, you could stay here a while longer. Naruto said. I would like that. But I have to go home sometime. Hinata said, trying not to pass out from the offer. Oh okay, right. Do you want me to walk you home? Naruto asked. All right. Hinata said. Whispers and dirty looks followed them as they walked down the street. Hinata could barely believe some of the things she heard. It seemed everyone thought that Naruto had only been made a genin so that he could accidentally die on a mission. Don't listen to them, Naruto-kun. Of course I won't. I'm going to become Hokage after all. So I can't go dying on a little D or C ranked mission. Hinata mimicked his excitement. Right. So Hinata-san, what's your dream? He said. My dream? She said. Yeah, I guess you don't have to tell me if you don't want to. He said. No. I never really thought about it. But I want to become stronger like you. She said. Like me? Well, no worries there. You're already as strong as me when we spar. He said. Thank you? Hinata said, stopping in front of a large gate. Well, this is where I live. She said. Wow. This place is huge. You actually live here? He said. Most of my clan does. Good luck tomorrow, Naruto-kun. She said. Thanks, you too. He said. Hinata had the urge to throw her arms around Naruto and hug him goodbye, but she knew several members of her clan were probably watching, so she resisted. Much to Naruto's disappointment, Naruto crouched on a training post. His stomach growled, a complaint at having skipped breakfast. They had been waiting 3 hours for their sensei. Hey Sakura, can I ask you something? Like I could stop you. She said, angry that her time staring at Sasuke had been interrupted. Okay, say someone you like offers to walk you home. He said. Stop. I don't want you to walk me home. She said. I wasn't. Okay, say Sasuke offered to walk you home. What would you do when you got there? He said. Well, I'd offer to let him come in and we'd kiss and... She looked away blushing. Is that how it's supposed to go? Naruto mumbled. What are you blathering about? She said. Nothing. He said, already ignoring the rest of the conversation. Kakashi appeared in a puff of smoke. Good morning. I'm glad to see, well, one of you. Sasuke gave him a bored look. Let's just get this over with. Alright, the test is simple. I have 2 small bells. You have until noon to get them. More than enough time. Each of you needs a bell or you fail, and to top it off you won't get lunch. But Kakashi-sensei, there are 3 of us. Sakura said. Right, so one of you will automatically fail. I suggest you come at me with the intent to kill. He said. Naruto charged him. In the blink of an eye, Naruto was on the ground, Kakashi's knee pressing on his spine and a kunai at his throat. Guess I should have expected that from the demon. I didn't say go. He released Naruto and took out a small book. Go. Sasuke and Sakura disappeared into the surrounding woods. Naruto stood up and grinned. Alright, time to show you what I can do, he charged Kakashi again. The Jonin sighed in boredom. Maybe I can just break a leg or something and be done with him. He grabbed Naruto's arm and slammed him to the ground, caught him on the bounce and threw him into the forest. With any luck he'll be gone until this is over. Naruto climbed out of the tree, rubbing his leg. There's no way any of us can get those bells. Unless. He quickly made several shadow clones to find Sasuke and Sakura. It didn't take long for him to find her. She was trampling through the forest, making more noise than a marching band. Sakura. What? I'm busy trying to find Sasuke. She said. Listen, the only way we can get those bells if the 3 of us work together. He said. You're just too weak to get one yourself. I'm sure Sasuke can handle this. You just want to tag along and grab one at the last minute. It's the only way you can pass this after all. Besides, if we work together there'll still only be 2 bells. She said. We can figure that out after we get them. He said. Yeah, right. Sakura said, punching him. She blinked in surprise when he disappeared in a puff of smoke. Cool, wish that had happened more often. Hope he doesn't come back soon. Naruto cringed when his clone was destroyed. It took half an hour for one of the others to find Sasuke along the edge of the woods watching Kakashi, who was still standing in the middle of the clearing reading his book. No, Sasuke said, I haven't said anything yet. Naruto said, I know what you're going to say, but I don't need your help. I've been watching him and I know his blind spot. So just get out of here, he said and stabbed the clone. Kakashi shook his head. Why was the demon the only one who seemed to have picked up on the real goal of the test? It was so frustrating. He had his own clones watching them reporting in by radio. But it was getting boring. He ordered his clones to start pushing them. Let's see how far you can really go. Fire release. Rolling flames. Sasuke charged into the clearing. A wave of fire rolled over the ground, burning the nearby trees. He looked around for Kakashi. Where is he? That shouldn't have incinerated him. A hand shot out from the ground and pulled him in until only his head was above ground. Damn it! Let me out and fight me! Sasuke shouted as Kakashi disappeared. Kakashi watched from a nearby tree, one of the ones that wasn't currently on fire, and frowned. Sasuke hadn't even noticed he dropped one of the bells by him. Then he smiled. Sakura was stumbling towards Sasuke. One of his clones had shown her a genjutsu of Sasuke impaled by kunai and throwing stars. This should be good. Sakura was covered in cuts from running aimlessly through the forest. When she stepped into the clearing, she saw Sasuke's head sitting on the ground, watching her. He gave her a bored look. Yo, she fainted. Hey! Wake up and dig me out! He shouted at her. Kakashi smiled. This was fun. He should have gotten students sooner. In the moment he relaxed, the kunai sailed towards his head. He spun just in time to avoid it, and twisted around to see a flash of orange. Naruto. A second kunai came at him from behind again, and sliced into his mask. Clever, you were disguised as the first one. He recovered and landed on the edge of the clearing. He was greeted by a grinning Naruto. Got you, a lucky shot hardly counts as getting me, Kakashi said. He rushed forward and punched Naruto in the stomach. Then grabbed his jacket and tossed him into a pond. Now that's getting someone. I wonder what would happen if you drowned. Naruto jumped out of the water and charged him. Kakashi sighed. He'd actually expected something. Guess you can't count on a demon to use anything but brute strength. He stuck out a foot and tripped him, watching Naruto roll. There was a series of splashes. Kakashi turned and saw several more Narutos leaping from the water and throwing kunais at him. He dodged and threw several of his own. All but one Naruto disappeared. The real Naruto cried out, and a kunai pierced his shoulder. He fell to the ground panting and pulled it out. Kakashi had another kunai in his hand. Guess that was his last hurrah. Fire release. Phoenix Sage Fire. Kakashi turned to see Sasuke freed from the earth. He was just distracting me so he could free Sasuke. Sasuke was making numerous smaller fireballs this time. Kakashi dodged the attack easily. The injured Naruto wasn't as fast, and one fireball struck him in his uninjured shoulder. He spun into the water. I suppose I should get on his case about injuring a teammate, but considering who it was, I think I'll let it slide. Kakashi pulled out a roll of ninja wire and quickly strung up Sasuke from a tree. Why won't you fight me? He ignored the genin and turned back to the pond where a soaked and panting Naruto was climbing out of the water. Time's almost up. Going to try another surprise attack? Kakashi said. Nah, I can't beat you in a head-on fight, but I still have one option. Naruto said. This should be good. What's he going to do? Threaten my family? Naruto bowed. Please give me one of the bells. Kakashi nearly fell over. If any other student had pulled that, he might have actually given them one, but this was the Kyuubi. So instead he tied Naruto to a training pole just as the timer went off. Time's up. Looks like no one got a bell. Let's see, the only one I want to pass is Sasuke. Sakura should go back to the academy. And Naruto. You'll need to be kicked out altogether, but, at this stage, teams pass or fail together. So all of you pass riding on Sasuke's coattails. Someone should tell Sakura when she wakes up. With that he disappeared. Hey wait, someone untie me! Naruto shouted. Sasuke! Hey Sasuke, let me go, I dug you up. Get out on your own. Sasuke said. Hinata stood with Kiba and Shino. Akamaru, Kiba's faithful dog, sat on his head sniffing the light breeze. The training ground they were at was a mix of open fields and patches of trees. Their sensei looked over them approvingly. This test is fairly simple. I've adapted it from a Jonin training exercise. Because you will primarily be a tracking team, your goal today is to locate a tag identical to this one. She held up a slip of paper with pass written on it. I have hidden the tag somewhere within this training ground, and set up a few traps and trick along the way. While your ultimate goal will be to pass, for now just get as far in as you can. It should take you 3 months to retrieve the tag. Oh, and you only have an hour. Begin. Her image wavered and disappeared. Kiba looked at the now empty space with wide eyes. That was so cool. She's got to teach us that. It was only a simple genjutsu, Shino said. His insects had already confirmed she had never truly been there. We should go. Right, I'll find that tag in under an hour. Kiba and Akamaru charged into the nearest patch of trees. Shino turned to Hinata. I suppose we will have to explain that running into an unknown situation in a hostile territory is not a viable course of action. Yes, we should find him, Hinata said, ducking her head down. She found the silent insect user intimidating. I believe your Byakugan would be the quickest way to locate him, Shino said. Oh right, of course. Byakugan. She found Kiba pinned to the ground by a net with Akamaru trying to dig him out. Shino's insects had him cut out in seconds. That was a rash and careless move. Hey, we only have an hour, Kiba said. Yes. Which is why we should function as the team we were designed to be, Shino said. So what should we do, Bug Brain? Kiba said. Shino ignored the insult. Hinata, please check the area for the tag. Alright. Thankfully their sensei had them meet near the middle of the training ground, and she could see the whole area. I see 3 of them. I can't tell which one is real. Which is closest? Shino asked. North-northeast, 315 meters. Under a bush. Hinata said. Traps? Shino said. I can see several trip wires and 2 small explosive tags. I don't see any way around them. Hinata said. We can set the traps off from a safe distance. Shino said. Hey, you better not be planning to use Akamaru. Kiba said. My allies can take care of them with minimal risk. You should both be alert for hidden traps. Considering our sensei appears to favor genjutsu, she may have hidden traps from even Hinata's sight. Your ability to pick up on minute sense will be crucial. Shino said. Right. Let's get moving, team, Kiba said. They moved towards the first tag with him and Akamaru on point. Both Shino and Hinata were happy to let him play leader. They broke from the trees and crossed a large clearing. Kiba stopped sniffing the air. Fresh turned earth. Hinata see anything? A pitfall 5 meters ahead, another one to the left 6 meters and 2 more ahead and to the left. Hinata said. How did I miss those? If it wasn't for Kiba, we'd have already lost. I'm just dragging them down. I have to do better. My allies do not sense anything out of the ordinary. Hinata lead the way. Shino said. They moved cautiously across the field. There were more pitfalls the closer they got to the first tag. Shino's insects were able to safely trigger the traps by chewing through the trip wires. Several nets covered the ground and surrounding trees. When Hinata gave the all-clear, Kiba reached for the tag, but it dissolved in his hand. The second tag was directly south. There were fewer traps around the tag, which was located on a tree. Shino was becoming very uneasy as they drew closer to it. There had been only 2 trip wires so far. A clear path led to the tag. Shino held up a hand to stop them as his insects moved across the trees and ground, checking for hidden traps. One reported back a weak amount of chakra on one of the trees. Soon others were reporting the same. Explosive tags under a genjutsu. Hinata, can you determine their exact locations? Yes. I'll try. She looked closely. Now that she was looking for it, she could see a thin layer of chakra covering several spots on the trees ahead of them. I should have seen them. Stupid. What good are all-seeing eyes if you can't spot simple traps? If Shino and Kiba figure out how worthless I am, will they want me removed from the team? No, do what I can and push forward, just like Naruto. Second tree to the right, 3 meters up below the lowest branch. Third and fourth on the right. Both at the base. Fourth on the left, 2 together, a matter and a half up in the center. Sixth tree on the right near the 5th branch, just above the broken one. Alright, Akamaru, time to show them your precise targeting. Akamaru jumped off of Kiba's shoulder. Spinning in the air, he released a stream of urine. The path before them exploded. When the smoke cleared, Akamaru barked happily on the other side. Hinata confirmed that all the tags had been hit. Shino touched the tag and it dissolved. The last tag was to the northwest. They moved as quickly as they dared, avoiding the traps fairly well. Except Kiba, who found himself in another net. As they approached the third tag, which was stuck to a rock in the middle of a clearing, they slowed down, checking for hidden traps. But there was nothing noticeable, anywhere. A red flag for any ninja. They crouched on the edge of the clearing. There were only 5 minutes left. Shino was not happy about the lack of obstacles. Clearly this tag was being guarded by something on an entirely different level from the others. Kiba, do you smell anything? No, nothing. Literally, the whole area's been covered in some kind of scent neutralizer. It's creepy, Kiba said. Hinata? Shino said. Hinata activated her Byakugan, and couldn't see anything. The entire clearing seemed to be covered in fog. But when she deactivated them, it was gone. There's some kind of fog blocking my view. I'm sorry, I can't see through it. Without my Byakugan, I'm nothing. What would Naruto do? A genjutsu that is only visible to the Byakugan and can block it. That must be extremely high level. My allies sense chakra covering the clearing but can't pinpoint its location. We are effectively blind, Shino said. So what are we supposed to do? We've only got 4 minutes left, Kiba said. Even if this tag is another fake, we won't have time to find the real one. I suggest we hold nothing in reserve. Charge the stone in 3 separate paths. Excuse me, 4. Touch the ground as little as possible, and do not stop for anything, Shino said. They nodded and broke from their cover. Kiba and Akamaru were first, then Shino, and a second later Hinata. Kiba ran to the right and curved towards the rock. Akamaru did the same but skirted the edge of the clearing. Kiba was several meters out when roots burst from the ground, tangling his feet and tripping him. He tried to cut them, but more grew to replace the ones he got. Akamaru saw him go down and rushed to help, becoming trapped in the genjutsu himself. Shino took the direct path, heading straight for the rock. He was almost halfway there, moving in a series of jumps. Fire encircled him. The heat was intense but just within his tolerance. Despite knowing it was a genjutsu, he was unable to pass it, and his insects would not approach the fire no matter how much he assured them it wasn't real. Out of options, he simply sat in the middle of the flaming ring. Hinata saw Kiba fall and seemed to struggle with something. Shino simply stopped and sat down. But somehow she was able to keep going, skirting the left edge of the clearing, until a wall of earth shot up in front of her. She tried to jump it, but it grew to match her progress, and when she backtracked it followed her, effectively trapping her in an earthen ring. Slowly it closed in around her until she was pressed in tight. Not uncomfortably so, but enough she was unable to move. Finally it lowered to her shoulders so she could see the clearing. Kurenai appeared between them. Not bad. I hadn't expected you to get this far for 2.5 weeks. I am very pleased. Kurenai-sensei, how could we have gotten past the genjutsu? Hinata asked. Well, you could have dispelled them, but we'll work on that later. There is also a single clear path, straight from the rock to that rock outcropping. If you had been extremely lucky, one of you might have run along it. Thank you, Kurenai-sensei, Hinata said before disappearing in a puff of smoke. Her teammates and sensei stared at the stop where she had been a moment before. Kurenai knew it was impossible, but still she had seen it. Turning a moment too late, she found Hinata at the rock, panting but holding the tag. By pure luck, she had hidden by the rock outcropping to watch her shadow clone. Kiba was cheering like a madman, and Shino stood as static as ever. Hinata, where did you learn that? Kurenai said. What do you mean, where did she learn it? They taught us at the academy, Kiba said. No, that is an illusion. What Hinata just used was a solid clone. Most certainly not taught at the academy, Kurenai said. Naruto-sen taught me, Kurenai-sensei, Hinata said. That thing taught her? Where did it learn, and why teach her? What twisted plan is it up to? But the fact she was actually able to use it, incredible. I wonder what her clan would think of that. Alright. I am impressed with all of you. There's a lot of work to be done, but you're well ahead of what I was expecting. Clearly I will need to rework some training. You have the rest of the day off, she said before disappearing. A few days Naruto sat under a tree. A sleepy breeze rustled the leaves and he was beginning to drift off to sleep, thinking about Hinata. They hadn't had a chance to speak with each other since the day of team assignments. Skipping training already? Someone said. Naruto opened his eyes. Kiba was leaning over him with Akamaru riding on his head. The rest of his team was behind him, including Hinata. Naruto-kun would not do that, would you, Naruto-kun? Yeah, Kakashi-sensei told me there was nothing I could learn from today's training and to leave, so I thought I'd just relax, he said, getting up. Naruto-kun, what happened? Hinata said. He looked around confused, until he remembered he hadn't had a chance to fix up his jacket yet. One shoulder had a charred hole in it, the other a bloody slash. Oh, nothing. That's not nothing, let me see, Hinata said, trying to wrestle his jacket off. The rest of Team 8 watched in shock. She had barely been able to say 2 sentences to them, and here she was practically stripping Naruto in the middle of the training grounds. Kurenai shook her head. I can't blame Kakashi for not wanting to train the demon, but how'd my squad get sucked into this? And what's got Hinata acting like this towards him? Hinata finally got Naruto's jacket and shirt off. There were no traces left of his injuries. See, Hinata-chan, just got a little roughed up during our test. I'm fine. Can I have my clothes back? His clothes? Hinata looked down at her hands. She was clutching his jacket and shirt. Yeah. She threw them at him and ran behind a tree, turning red with embarrassment. Oh God. I just ripped his clothes off. I can't believe I did that. He's going to hate me now. Hinata-chan? Are you alright? Naruto said, poking around in the trees looking for her. I'm sorry, Naruto-kun, I didn't. Hinata said. No problem, it wasn't too bad actually. Naruto said. Not too bad? Does that mean her thoughts were interrupted by Kiba. Hey Hinata! Come on, we've got training. Naruto, why don't you come too, then you can see a real ninja's skill. That okay, right, Kurenai-sensei? Wonderful, the demon brat's the last thing I want to deal with today. Still, it'll be a good chance to see just what he's like. And if my squad can show off a bit, all the better. Alright, for today Naruto will be training with us. So since we have a guest, let's have a little competition. She pulled a white tag from her pocket and 2 watches. She tossed one to Hinata and the other to Kiba. Hinata, Naruto, it's you 2 against Kiba and Shino. Each team will start from a different training ground. I'm going to hide the tag at the waterfall 3 kilometers north of here. In 20 minutes head there and find it. Hinata, Naruto, you'll start from the 5th training ground. Go get in position. Alright. Naruto grabbed Hinata's hand and pulled her towards their starting point. Kiba growled. Are you sure this is a good idea? Don't worry, I'll be keep an eye on them. And if you're concerned, you just need to finish this as quickly as possible. Kurenai said, jumping into the woods. Naruto stared impatiently at the watch. There were still 5 minutes until they started, but he couldn't wait. Can't this thing count any faster? Hinata gave a light laugh, but he didn't miss the nervous glances she kept throwing towards the forest. Something wrong? He asked. I don't know if I can do this. What if I mess up? Let you down? She said. She hated admitting to him that she was so nervous after the confidence he seemed to have in her, but she felt that not voicing her doubt would be a far worse insult to him. You'll done fine. I know it. With your X-ray eyes we'll find that tag in no time. Naruto said. Right. Hinata said. Trying to believe it. When the watches went off, the two teams made a mad dash towards the waterfall. Hinata and Naruto arrived first, spurred on by his excitement. Alright, let's get looking. I'll help, Naruto said, making a dozen shadow clones that started looking under nearby rocks and plants. Be a Kugen. Hinata began scanning the surrounding area. Kiba and Shino arrived a moment later. Kiba dropped to the ground and started sniffing. Shino watched. Anything? Everything smells like ramen. What about your bugs? Kiba said. They're having a hard enough time just keeping from being stepped on. He's like an elephant stampede. Shino said. Fine, we'll do things old school. Kiba said and started looking by hand. Shino sighed but joined in. Kiba was just climbing a tree to get a better look around when Hinata called out, Naruto-kun! Behind the waterfall, all the clones disappeared as Naruto ran towards the waterfall. Oh no you don't! Kiba jumped from the tree and ran flat out. Akamaru stuck close. Naruto reached its base and started climbing. Kiba jumped onto the cliff face above him and swung into the water. There was a small cave behind the water. Okay, where is it? Hey, that tag's ours, Naruto said, climbing in behind him. Not until you get it, Kiba said, like you could find it. Naruto said. Kiba grabbed Naruto by the jacket. Watch what you say. I can beat you in anything. Sure you can, Naruto said. Then lost his footing and pulled both of them into the water. They splashed into the pond at the base of the cliff. Kiba pulled himself out first. Akamaru shook himself to dry off. That won't stop me, I'll still beat you. Kurenai appeared next to him. It's a little late for that. She pointed to the tree Kiba had been climbing. Hinata was sitting on the top branch holding the tag, smiling. Sorry, Kiba-san. It was Naruto-kun's idea to lie about finding the tag to buy time. Kiba walked over to where Naruto was still trying to climb out of the water. He reached down and pulled him out. Fine, you won one. But next time I'm taking you down. Anywhere, anytime, Naruto said. Kurenai watched with interest. Maybe there's more to the demon than I thought. At least he can use his mind for more than pranks and trouble. Alright, that was a good tracking exercise. Let's move on to some sparring. Hinata, Kiba, you're up first. They took their positions. I won't hold back, Hinata. Right, she said. Kiba charged her. Hinata blocked his first attack and even managed to counter. He was impressed. She actually had the upper hand for the first few strikes. Then she missed a block and began to retreat. In just a few more exchanges he had her pressed against a tree. He swept her feet out from under her and held the kunai to her throat. You're really improving. Hey Hinata-chan! Why were you taking it easy on him? Naruto said. Kiba glared at him. What are you yelling about? I'll show you, he said, taking position to spar with Hinata. Just like always. Okay, she said, sliding into her stance. Naruto attacked, holding back until she fell into her normal rhythm. Their movements speed up until their kunais were a blur. Naruto made a shadow clone and they charged her. Hinata didn't retreat this time. She ran forwards, sliding between them. She threw her kunai through the clone and hit the real Naruto's leg, sending him into a tumble. He jumped back to his feet and found a kunai in front of his face. I win, Naruto-kun. Whoop! Way to go, Hinata-chan! Naruto shouted. Kiba, Shino, and Kurenai stared in astonishment. Hinata had just fought on an entirely different level than any of them had ever seen before from her. I don't know why she responds that way with the demon, but I should keep any eye on him from now on. If this keeps up, she may actually prove her stuck-up clan wrong. Hinata's teammates ran toward her. That was amazing! Why didn't you fight like that with me just now? I mean, she said, searching for an answer. Kiba threw his arm around her shoulder. Whatever. Who knew you had it in you? Alright everyone, to celebrate our little Hinata kicking Naturos, but I'm treating everyone to dinner, Kurenai said. As they were making their way back towards the village, Naruto talked with Hinata about what he was going to get if they went to this restaurant, or that one. Shino fell into step with Kiba. I thought you did not trust him. I don't, but that was a good plan he had. And well, have you ever seen Hinata smile like that? Or fight like that? Kiba said. No, it was surprising. Shino said. Yeah. If he can bring that out of Hinata, I'll tolerate him for now. Kiba said. He does seem to have a way of bringing out people's best. Not just Hinata. Shino said. Huh? What are you talking about? Kiba said. You seem to be trying harder than normal today. Shino said. What are you talking about? I think those bugs of yours finally ate your brain. Kiba said. Did you notice he was calling her Hinata-chan? I did. Shino said. Should we be worried about that? He doesn't have the best reputation. Kiba said. I do not believe it is any of our business right now. We should not get involved unless it becomes an issue for the team. Also, I believe it is due in greater part to Hinata herself. My allies have been picking up several pheromones. Shino said. Kiba blushed. Yeah, I noticed them too. Kurenai lead them to a restaurant. The owner greeted them at the door. Welcome. Right this way, we have an open. He stopped when he saw Naruto. Hey, you get out of here. You're not welcome. He shoved Naruto back out the door. But Naruto-kun. Hinata reached for him, but Shino held her back. Interested in observing their sensei's reaction, Kurenai frowned. What will you do now, demon? Naruto looked at the ground, then gave them a big, cheesy grin. It's alright, enjoy your dinner, guys. He turned to leave, but Kurenai grabbed his jacket. Naruto is a shinobi of this village, and will be treated with the respect of such. Like hell I will, that demon has no place here. And I ain't gonna let some bitch that never should have become a ninja tell me otherwise. What did you say? Kurenai asked. Debating if it would be inappropriate to deal with him in front of her students. I said I ain't gonna let some bitch that slept her way to her position tell me what to do. He was cut off as Naruto struck him in the gut. He doubled over. Shut the hell up. Naruto said. Damn you brat. Die. The owner drew a butcher knife and swung at Naruto's throat. Naruto stepped backward and grabbed his own kunai to defend himself with. But never got the chance. Akamaru jumped from Kiba's head and bit the hand holding the weapon. The owner cried out in pain and dropped the knife. Kiba grabbed his other hand. Hinata grabbed the knife. The air filled with an angry buzz and dozens of small insects swarmed over the owner's legs. Enough, Kurenai said, making sure Hinata still had the knife. Kiba and Akamaru let go of the man. Akamaru waited until the insects had left before peeing on the owner's shoes. The man glared at them. You brats and bitches made a big mistake. Kurenai had a kunai knife at his throat. No, you did. You attacked a shinobi of this village. You'll be lucky if you're left with a few coins after I inform the third about this. He scrambled back into the restaurant and slammed the door. Kurenai turned towards her students. All of you, what was that? What he started it? Kiba said. I don't want to hear from you yet, Kiba. Naruto. Why did you attack him? Why? Didn't you hear what he said about you? Naruto said. He was angry over what the owner said about me? That's why you attacked him? Not because he called you a demon? She said. Nah, I'm used to that. Naruto said. He was so casual about it, Kurenai had little doubt it was the truth. I see, and the rest of you? She asked. Cause of what he said about you. Naruto just got to him first. Kiba said. He pulled a weapon on Naruto-kun. Hinata said. He threatened my teammates, sensei and a fellow shinobi. Shino said. Alright, I should really lecture all of you about what you did, but I'll let it slide this time. Come on, I still owe you a dinner. She said, leading the way to a barbecue restaurant a few blocks away. This time Naruto was allowed in without a word, but the cook didn't look very happy. He led them to the table furthest away from the others. It didn't take long for Naruto and Kiba to get into an eating contest. Kurenai smiled as she watched them. She didn't know why she had acted the way she did when the owner tried to throw Naruto out. She supposed it was because she knew what it was like to be treated poorly because of something you had no control over. Treated like a demon, but he doesn't act like one. Maybe we've been wrong about him. Go Naruto-kun. Hinata cheered. What Hinata? We're teammates, you should be cheering for me. Kiba said. Woof. Akamaru chimed in. Not you too, Akamaru. Kiba said. Naruto snatched the last piece of meat. I win again. No fair. Rematch. Kiba said. Kurenai silenced them. Another time. You two could eat a small fortune. Good job today, teammate. Dismissed. Oh, and Naruto, I hope you'll join us again. Sure, he said. Team 7 crouched in the forest watching their target. Kakashi's voice came over their small radios. How far is the target? 15 meters and closing. Sakura said. I'm in position. Sasuke said. Apprehend. Don't injure the target. Kakashi said. Sasuke and Sakura jumped out from behind the tress. Their target blotted through the bushes and into Naruto's arms. He caught the cat, and 4 of his clones slipped socks onto its claws so it couldn't scratch him again. Naruto. Sasuke totally had that until you got in the way. Why do you always have to try and steal his glory? You'll never be as good as him. Sakura said. Naruto carried the now docile cat, ignoring Sakura. How many times is it now that we've had to catch this stupid thing? Kakashi appeared before them. Good work, Sakura. Sasuke. Naruto, was it necessary to play dress up with that monster? But Kakashi, he'll rip me to ribbons without those. Naruto said. Can't even handle a cat? Kakashi said, shaking his head. Hey, even you called him a monster. Naruto said. You're one to talk. Alright everyone, let's head back. Kakashi said. Despite Kakashi's objections, Naruto kept the socks on the cat until they reached the village where its owner, the Dainomo's wife, thought it was the cutest thing she had seen. Naruto felt sorry for it, but he swore he heard it muttering kill the ninjas as she carried it away. The Hokage nodded, looking over their mission log. In just over a month they had completed a decent number of D-ranked missions. Let's see what else. A farmer needs a field weeded, a politician needs someone to watch his children, some dogs need walking. Naruto was about to complain about another lame mission, but Sasuke beat him to it. Come on, give us a real mission. I'm not going to improve with these stupid D-ranked ones. Not that those two aren't being challenged enough with them, he said, nodding towards Sakura and Naruto. What the hell are you talking about? I could handle any mission you could and do it better, Naruto said. Sasuke scoffed at him. Right, that's why you had to put socks on a cat. That's it. Hey old fart, give us a good mission so I can show this jerk what I can do, Naruto said. Naruto. Kakashi covered his mouth to prevent him from saying anything else. I am sorry, Lord Hokage. What's wrong, Naruto? Why don't you show us some of your amazing ninja skills? Sasuke mocked. Enough, the Hokage shouted. Why did I ever approve putting them on the same team? Since you are both so sure of yourselves, then I will make an exception and allow you to attempt AC ranked mission. Naruto wiggled away from Kakashi. Whoop. What will we be doing? Tracking down a gang of outlaws? Saving a country from an evil king? What does that kid watch? Nothing that extreme. You will be assigned to escort a certain individual to his home country and guard him while he completes his work. Send him in, please, the Hokage said. The doors opened and an old man in ragged clothes walked in. He looked at Team 7 and took a long swig from a bottle. Is this a joke? You're sending a midget to guard me? And the rest a bunch of wet-nosed brats? Naruto chuckled. Midget? Is he talking about Sasuke or Sakura? When he checked though, he was the shortest. I'll kill him, Kakashi grabbed him. No, Naruto. You can't kill the client. I apologize for him. I can also assure you that Sasuke can handle anything we are likely to encounter. But I will also be accompanying you and I am an elite ninja, whatever. I ain't paying extra if one of those brats does something stupid and gets themselves killed, he said. Alright team, we leave in an hour, go get ready, Kakashi said. Naruto ran towards his apartment eager to grab his gear. He stopped when he caught sight of Hinata down a side street. Hinata, Naruto-kun. You seem excited, Hinata said. Yeah, we just got our first C-ranked mission, Naruto said. Really? Congratulations. When you get back, would you like to go out with me? On a date? To celebrate, Hinata said. A date? Sure, Naruto said. Really? Hinata said. Yeah, Naruto said. Hinata fainted. He just managed to catch her. Oh man, why'd she have to pass out now? He picked her up and carried her back to his apartment, then laid her on his couch while he grabbed all of his gear. Just as he was ready to leave, she came around. What happened? You fainted again, so I brought you back here, Naruto said. Sorry, Hinata said. It's not a big deal. Glad you woke up, though I need to meet the rest of my team at the gates, Naruto said. All right. Hinata hesitated, then leaned over and kissed Naruto's cheek. For luck, she barely managed to run from his apartment without fainting. Naruto touched his cheek. He felt a lingering warmth. For one of the only times in his life he felt a deep calming happiness. Naruto was the last to arrive at the gates. Sakura glared at him. Finally! Can't you be on time for once? Even Kakashi-sensei made it here before you. Sorry. Something came up I had to take care of, Naruto said. Well, now that we are all here, let's get going. Sasuke point. Naruto, Sakura guard Tazuna, I'll take the rear. They fell into formation. Several hours of walking later and Naruto was getting bored. He had expected AC ranked mission to be more exciting. Even chasing that darn cat was better than this. Not that he would have been able to focus on even that. His mind kept returning to Hinata and the kiss she had given him. Hey Sakura. What would you want to do on a date, Naruto? She reached around Tazuna and hit his face, sending him into a tree. I told you I would never go on a date with you. Tazuna was nearly doubled over laughing. Naruto pulled himself out of the tree. I didn't ask you on a date, I just wanted to know what you'd do on one, like it'd matter to you. You'd never manage to get a date with anyone unless you kidnap them, Sakura said. Forget it, Naruto said. Tazuna leaned over. Hey kid, what you want to do is go to a nice bar and have some good booze. What? We're both underage. And why would we want to do that? Naruto said. He just laughed. Trust me. Tazuna took another swig from his bottle. Naruto nearly gagged on the smell. Hey Sasuke. If anything happens, make sure you don't use any fire jutsu near this guy. He'll probably just explode, whatever, Sasuke said. No one saw the smirk he wore. They walked on in relative peace for another hour. Kakashi was considering having them stop for the night when a chain loop appeared around him. The other turned and saw it pull tight, slicing Kakashi to pieces. Two ninjas charged the group. Naruto rushed forward, too late, seeing he was going to be caught in the chain and torn apart. A kunai sailed past him and struck the chain, pinning it to a tree. Sasuke appeared above them and kicked their heads. The first to recover dodges Sasuke's next attack and ran toward Tazuna and Sakura. Naruto moved between them. The ninja's claws pierced Naruto's side, but he had stopped the attack. He grabbed the ninja's arm and tossed him toward the other. Sasuke moved just in time to avoid the flying ninja. Kakashi appeared behind the two ninja and subdued them. He looked over his squad. There were no injuries aside from the deep gashes on Naruto. He knew the claws were probably poisoned, but decided the fox would probably take care of it. Naruto, bandage yourself, you're bleeding everywhere. Naruto pulled off his jacket and shirt. Sakura came over and helped him wrap the bandages. Thanks. Well, if you kept bleeding like that, it'd give the village a bad name, Sakura said. Kakashi stared at Tazuna. All right, old man, I think you had better tell us what's really going on. These are missing Nin. And their target was clearly you. Fine, I may have a crime boss after me, Tazuna said. You should have told us. This would have been classified as at least a B-ranked mission. Probably an A. My country's poor. Without the bridge I'm building, it'll die. That crime boss owns the local shipping trade. He's bleeding us dry. And so since you couldn't afford the proper protection, you lied about the mission. That is terms for cancellation of the contract. But I have to get home and finish the bridge, Tazuna said. Well, team, what do you think? Kakashi said, looking them over. He and Sasuke could probably handle the mission if these two were the worst they had to deal with. But he doubted they would be. Sakura had frozen, so she wouldn't be much help. And Naruto had been surprisingly useful. Even if it was only as a shield. If the mission continued, he might actually be rid of the demon. Naruto jumped up and winced. What are you talking about? We can do this blindfolded. Besides, he needs our help. Well, yes, but you're missing the point. We aren't prepared for this mission because he lied to us about what it would be like. Speak for yourself. I'm always as prepared as I can be. Besides, a mission can turn around at any time. That's no excuse for abandoning it, I suppose, Kakashi said. So the demon actually remembered something from the academy. Will wonders never end? Kakashi-sensei, I think we should continue as well, Sakura said. There's no point in dropping such an easy mission, Sasuke said. All right, we will continue on then, but I'm sending word back to the village so they can send support. Standard procedure in cases like these, Kakashi said. The Hokage looked at the village. It was so peaceful. One of his aides ran towards him. Sir, we have news about Squad 7. Oh? They shouldn't be back yet, he said. They aren't. But Kakashi sent user request for support. The aide said. Support? For AC ranked mission? He took the letter and read it over. This is not good. Who do we have available? The Hokage said. I am afraid not many at the moment. The only ones who are not current occupied are Squad 8. The aide said. Send them. Give Kurenai instruction that they are to be pulled back if the situation become dire. The Hokage said. She won't be happy about that, sir. The aide said. No, but she will do it. The Hokage said. Team 7 looked at the mist that had closed in around them. They were passing under the shadow of the bridge. The small boat they were in glided silently. The engine had been cut to avoid unnecessary noise. When they reached a small dock, Tazuna thanked the boat operator, and they walked towards his home. Naruto had a kunai in his hand, trying to look in every direction. Kakashi sighed. Naruto, stop being so twitchy, but I think I heard something in those bushes. Naruto said. It was nothing, Naruto. Kakashi said. Then charge the bushes. He held up a rabbit. I stand corrected. You have just saved us from a monster worse than the Kyuubi. He released the animal and they continued on. Down, Kakashi said. They dropped to the ground as a giant sword flew over their head, embedding itself in a tree. A man stood on its hilt. Kakashi watched him. If it isn't Momochi Zabuza, the little traitor from the mist. Naruto got ready to attack, but Kakashi held him back. Hold on, this one is on a different level from anything you've seen. It's about to get rough. Kakashi of the Sharingan? If you wouldn't mind giving the old man to me? Zabuza said. Everyone. Guard Tazuna, Kakashi said, raising his headband. Naruto stared at his eye. It was red with 3 small marks in it. What's up with his eye? Naruto said. That's the Sharingan. Sasuke said. It can see through and copy any ninjutsu. Indeed. It is said Kakashi has copied over 1,000 ninjutsus. Zabuza said. Don't let down your guard. Zabuza is as bad as they come. Kakashi said. Ah, you heard about my little fun then? Zabuza said. Who hasn't? In the village hidden in the mist, also called the Village of the Bloody Mist, they had a unique graduation exam for new ninjas. They were paired up and forced to kill their friends. Those they'd shared dreams and food with. Until one year a child who wasn't even old enough to enter the academy killed 100 members of the graduating class. Good times, Zabuza said. Then he and the sword disappeared and reappeared standing on a nearby river. Mist closed in around them. There are 8 targets. Throat, spinal column, lungs, liver, the jugular vein, the subclavian artery, kidney, heart. Where to strike? Be careful, he is a master of the silent killing technique, Kakashi said. They moved closer to guard Tazuna. Zabuza appeared between them. Kakashi caught him and they tumbled onto the water. The water wrapped around Kakashi, forming a ball. Zabuza grinned. Art of the water prison. I can hardly believe you fell into my trap so easily. Now I can kill you at my leisure. After I finish off the old man and those ninja wannabes. He made a water clone. It charged Naruto, hitting him with the broad side of its sword. Naruto bounced across the field. He climbed back to his feet. The clone had hit him so hard his headband had come off. It used its foot to press the headband into the ground. Naruto rushed the clone, getting swatted again. He shook on the ground and staggered to his feet. Coughed up blood, and grinned. He had his headband in his hand and he put it back on. I am a ninja of the Hidden Leaf Village. 3 dozen shadow clones surrounded the water clone and attacked as one. Zabuza was covered in Naruto's Sasuke now. I don't need your help, he said. The pile exploded as Zabuza spun his sword around. Naruto was sent skidding. Fine, then at least use something better than a kunai. He tossed Sasuke a giant shuriken. Sasuke caught it and whirled around. Finally making yourself useful. Sasuke threw it at the water clone, but it sailed wide and went straight towards the real one. The real Zabuza just smirked and leaned towards the side. It just missed him. As he turned his attention back to his water clone, the shuriken disappeared and was replaced by Naruto. He threw a kunai at Zabuza. The mist ninja was forced to move out of its way and break his hold on the water prison. Kakashi broke free. In that same instant, Sasuke realized what had happened. Damn it, the dead last tricked me. He moved to the water clone. Grand Fireball Jutsu. It disappeared in a cloud of hissing steam. Kakashi mimicked Zabuza's jutsu. Finishing a moment sooner, the mist ninja was struck by the full force of a water dragon tsunami and hurled against a tree. Naruto had gotten caught in the surge of water and nearly drowned, being washed up on the side of the field. Sasuke grabbed him jacket and pulled him up. Don't ever use me like that again. Hey, it worked, Naruto said. Sasuke shoved him aside and turned his attention back to where Kakashi and Zabuza were facing off. They began to make hand signs, and 2 needles sprouted from Zabuza's neck. He collapsed. Kakashi leaned over and checked him. Dead. They all looked up and saw a masked ninja standing in the tree. I hope you do not mind my interference, but I wanted the satisfaction of ending this traitor's life myself. You're a shinobi hunter from the mist, correct? Kakashi asked. Yes. The ninja jumped down and picked up the body. If you will excuse me, I must destroy the body so none of my village's secrets can be revealed. They disappeared in a swirl of leaves. Kakashi collapsed. Kakashi-sensei, Sakura said. They rushed to him. It's all right, just overuse the Sharingan, he said. They carried him the rest of the way to Tezuna's house. The next morning he was well enough to move around with the help of crutches. He led them into the forest, stopping by several large trees. All right, today we're going to start a new training exercise. Tree climbing. Tree climbing, Kakashi-sensei? Sakura asked. Yes. But you can't use your hands. Watch. He walked towards one of the trees and up its trunk as if it was laying on the ground. Then onto a branch upside down. This will help you control your chakra. You have to focus your chakra at the bottom of your feet. Too little and you fall, too much and it's like a spring. He threw 3 kunais to the ground. The best way to learn is to do. Score the bark at the highest point you can climb to. The goal is to get a little higher each time. Once you have the basic principle of chakra control down, no jutsu should ever be beyond you. Alright. Naruto grabbed a kunai and ran at a tree. His foot hit the trunk, and he fell on his backside. Sasuke ran up the side of his own tree, making it 4 meters before springboarding off. Kakashi smiled at Naruto's struggle and Sasuke's progress. He glanced at Sakura to see how she was coming along. But she was gone. That was easier than I thought, Sakura said. The 3 of them looked up to see Sakura sitting at the top of a tree. Looks like even our fangirl has a few surprises. Whoop, way to go, Sakura, Naruto said. Her shoulders sagged. I wanted Sasuke to notice me, but as usual only Naruto cares. Several hours later they all lay panting on the ground. Kakashi had told Sakura to continue to do the exercise for as long as she could. Sasuke had made noticeable progress, gaining another 2 meters. Naruto, on the other hand, had made no progress beyond 1.5 meters. Damn it, she grinned. Now he'll get frustrated and quiet like always. She was surprised when he came over to her instead. Hey Sakura, could you help me? Naruto said. No way, figure it out on your own, Sakura said. Near sunset, Sasuke walked over to where Naruto was taking a break, his legs wobbling. Show me how to do that clone technique of yours. They weren't the phantoms we learned in the academy. Naruto was shocked. He never thought Sasuke would ask him for anything. But this was a golden chance. Alright, if you show me how to do one of those fire jutsus you have. Sakura had been watching them from behind a tree, more or less spying on Sasuke. Naruto. That's rude. We're all on the same team and should help each other. What? We'd each learn a new useful jutsu. So what do you say, Sasuke? Naruto said. Sasuke laughed. Me? Teach you? You don't deserve any of my clan's techniques. And you should be begging to teach me. Why? 'Cause you're a Uchiha? Naruto said. Exactly. Now show me. Sasuke said. No way. Naruto said. Fine, I'll learn it another way. He stomped off to find Kakashi. Naruto climbed to his feet and gave the tree another try. This time he actually managed to make it past his last mark and kept going. Until a kunai flew between his foot and the trunk. When he stepped on it he fell, not even managing to mark the height. He winced when he hit the ground, then looked over to see a smirking Sasuke. Sorry, must have slipped. I'll get you for that, Naruto said. Sure, you will dead last, Sasuke said. Sakura frowned. Sasuke, wasn't that taking things a little too far? Sasuke found Kakashi reading under a tree. Their sensei glanced up at him. Teach me some useful jutsu. Like that clone one of Naruto's, Sasuke said. Oddly enough, of all the jutsus I've copied, that was never one of them. Not too many people know how to use it, Kakashi said. Then make that dead last show me. I'm a Uchiha and should know such powerful techniques, Sasuke said. Kakashi got up. I suppose it would be useful for you to know. It does have certain advantages, though it requires a huge amount of chakra and chakra control to be used properly. If dead last knows it, I'll have no problem, Sasuke said. Absolutely not, Naruto said to Kakashi. Request? Come now, Naruto, you're being unreasonable. We're all a team and need to help each other, Kakashi said. So? I offered to show him if he'd show me one of those fire jutsus he's always using. Heck, I'll even settle for you teaching me one, Naruto said. Right now, with your chakra control, you wouldn't be able to do most of my jutsus. So why don't you show Sasuke now, and when you improve I'll show you something, alright? Why does this demon have to make things so difficult for me? Of course I can't teach him any of my jutsus anyways. There's no way I'd give him that kind of power. Fine then, he can wait until you think I'm good enough, Naruto said. Damn it, dead last. You should be honored I've even taken an interest in one of your jutsus, Sasuke said. Not gonna happen, Sasuke, Naruto said. Kakashi was surprised at the bloodlust he felt from Sasuke before he left, heading back towards Tazuna's house. Well done, Naruto. I want you to stay here until you have mastered the tree climbing exercise. Understood? Without waiting for a reply, he followed Sasuke. Naruto lay on the ground. He wasn't making any progress. Dusk was closing in around the woods. Naruto-kun? He looked up and saw Hinata. Must have hit my head harder than I thought, Naruto said. She crouched next to him. Are you alright? Yeah, fine. What are you doing here? Naruto said. Kakashi-sensei sent a request for a support team and my squad we were the only ones available. What are you doing out here alone? Hinata asked. Trying to climb this tree without using my hands, Naruto said. Maybe I can help. It's not that hard when you get the hang of it, Hinata said. You can do it? Naruto said. Yes, we learned a few weeks ago, Hinata said. Ah man, Naruto said. It's really not that difficult, Hinata said. Okay. Let's get going. So what's first? Naruto said. Be a Kugen. Alright. Start, but stand still and focus on your feet, Hinata said. Okay. Naruto said. You need more chakra, Hinata said. Like this? Naruto said. More, a little less. Good, hold that for 5 minutes, Hinata said. This is hard. Why do I have to do it? Naruto said. So you learn the proper amount without falling so much, and it easier to focus when just standing, Hinata said. He held his chakra with Hinata calling out minor adjustments. At first he had to focus and change every few seconds. But by the 5th minute he could actually feel the difference between too much and not enough. Alright, Naruto-kun. Try it now, Hinata said. Okay. He ran up the tree and made it 7 meters before he fell off. Oh yeah, check it out. Good work, Naruto-kun, Hinata said. Thanks. Alright, let's try this again, Naruto said. He focused the chakra to his feet again. Spent 5 minutes trying to maintain the proper level. And tried again. With Hinata's help he managed to get almost a meter higher each time, until he found himself standing sideways at the top of the tree. He was so excited he accidentally jumped off the tree. Hinata ran to where he had landed. Naruto-kun, fine. I can't believe how easy it was like that, Naruto said. You're really amazing. It took us 3 days to get it, Hinata said. That's cause I had an awesome teacher, Naruto said. Thank you, Hinata said. They set off for Tazuna's house. As they passed the river, Naruto saw a fish jumping out of the water. Hey Hinata, hold on a sec. He pulled out a kunai and tied some ninja wire to it. Aiming, he threw it at the fish. The kunai missed by an inch. What are you doing? Hinata said. Well, this town is pretty hard off. I went to the market this morning and there was hardly anything there. I feel kind of bad about just eating all their food, so I figured I could at least catch a fish or something to help out. He threw the kunai at another fish and only scraped its tail. It's harder than it looks. Maybe I can help, Hinata said, wading into the river up to her waist. She waited several minutes for the fish to ignore her. Then she slapped the water, sending out a chakra pulse. Several stunned fish floated to the surface. Naruto jumped in and caught them all. They had more than enough fish for dinner, and it took both of them to carry it back to Tazuna's house. There they found all their teammates sitting around the table. Kakashi frowned when he saw Naruto. I thought I told you to keep training until you got it. Instead you went fishing? Naruto smirked and walked to the wall, up it, and stood grinning on the ceiling. I finished early so me and Hinata thought we'd help catch dinner. Tazuna and his daughter looked wide-eyed at the fish Naruto and Hinata handed them. Thank you very much. I'll have these cooked up in no time. Kakashi looked a little confused and disappointed. How did he manage that? Just a few hours ago he was barely off the ground. It should have taken at least 3 weeks for him to advance this far. Even with all the extra mouths, and an eating contest between Kiba and Naruto, there was still plenty of fish left over after dinner. Kakashi looked at his 3 students. Sasuke looked ready to kill Naruto, having spent the whole meal glaring at him. Sakura kept scolding Naruto for his manners, but he had caught her smiling at his antics a few times. And Naruto was riding high after getting the hang of the tree walking exercise. Well, Naruto, since you still seem to be so full of energy, why don't you take first watch? Alright. Naruto said, getting up to go outside and patrol. Hinata, would you mind helping Naruto out? Kurenai asked. Of course, Kurenai-sensei. Hinata said. Kurenai ignored Kakashi's startled look. After their students had settled in until their watch, Kakashi found Kurenai in the kitchen to voice his concerns. Are you sure it's wise to leave her alone with that demon? Hinata will be fine. I'm starting to think we've all been wrong about Naruto. She said. What? Have you forgotten everything the Kyuubi has done to our village? Kakashi said. He couldn't believe a comrade was saying anything like this. I haven't, but I'm not convinced the Kyuubi and Naruto are the same. She said. How would you know? He said. Because every time you brush him off from your training he comes and trains with us. She said. He what's? And you've actually been training him? He said. Yes, at first it was just to see what he was like. But every time my squad works with him they push themselves further. Somehow he seems to bring out their best. She said. Have you lost your mind? It's the demon fox. You were there, you've seen what it can do. Kakashi said. I remember. And that's why I'm not convinced he's like we all thought. She said. When he decides to prove me right, I hope you'll remember this. Kakashi said, leaving the room. Kurenai sighed. She had been planning to speak with Kakashi about Naruto, but not like that. She decided to go check up on Naruto and Hinata. The two were sitting on top of Tazuna's house. Every few minutes Hinata used her Byakugan to check the surrounding area. Naruto was trying just to stay awake. Naruto-kun, if you are tired you can sleep. Hinata said. Nah, I can't go falling asleep on guard duty. Naruto said. I would hope not. Said Kurenai behind them. Kurenai-sensei. Hinata jumped up and bowed. She smiled at her student. Anything to report? No, nothing to report. Hinata said. After the way we beat the sword freak no one would dare mess with us. Naruto said. Actually I've been meaning to speak with you about that Naruto. I'm not convinced Zabuza is dead. What? But Kakashi said he was. There were needles in his neck and everything. Naruto said. Yes, but those needles are a strange weapon, aren't they? True, they can be used to kill. But also to put someone in a death-like state. I'm not convinced Kakashi could tell the difference in the condition he was in. Also, shinobi hunters are supposed to destroy a body on the spot. Yours seems to have left with it. Kurenai said. So? If he's stupid enough to come back we'll take care of him again. We've got you guys here now. Naruto said. You seem to have a lot of faith in my squad, Naruto. Kurenai said. Of course I do. You're all leaf shinobi too, and you've got Hinata-chan. Naruto said. Hinata turned away to hide her blush. She was sure she was bright enough to be seen from the sea. Kurenai just laughed and left them to the rest of their shift. Just after midnight Naruto and Hinata went inside while Sakura and Shino took their watch. As they passed each other Naruto grabbed Shino's arm and pulled him aside. Hey Shino, do you have a bug that can react to blood? In case one of us is separated and injured? An interesting idea. I'll think about it. He said before leaving the house. The next morning the leaf shinobi sat around the table. Kakashi looked at each of them. We have talked it over and decided that the best way to proceed will be to split into 3 two-man teams. One team will train, one will guard, and one will rest. We'll alternate the teams as we go. For today it will be Sasuke and Shino, Sakura and Kiba, and Hinata and Naruto. Before you all go. Kurenai interrupted. There is reason to believe the Zabuza may still be alive. If he is, it's doubtful he'll attack for several days, but be on your toes. Hinata and Naruto were assigned first guard duty. They escorted Tazuna to the bridge. He looked at them apprehensively. Great, a brat and a girl who looks like she'll faint at the first sign of trouble. Hey, you take that back. Hinata-chan is a better fighter than me. Naruto said. Oh, getting defensive. She your little girlfriend? He said. Yeah, as a matter of fact she is. Got a problem with that? Naruto said. Well, first she's too good for you. And second, that little announcement of yours seems to have killed her, Tazuna said, pointing at a fainted Hinata. Hinata? Oh man, this is so not good. Naruto said, running around trying to figure out what to do. Tazuna caught him by his jacket collar. Calm down. Just pick her up and carry to the bridge. I'm sure she'll come around soon. Oh right, good thinking. Guess the booze hasn't rotted all of your brain after all. Naruto said, picking up Hinata and shifting her to his pack. Hey, watch it, brat. I'm smarter than you'll ever be. Tazuna said. When they got to the bridge Tazuna frowned. Only half the workers from the day before were there. Where the hell is everyone? Sorry, boss, people been getting scared. One of them said. Scared? This is the last chance for our country. And the only paying job around. How are we ever gonna finish if everyone gets scared and runs away? Have some pride, Tazuna said. Most of the workers hung their head. A few more took off their hard hats and left. Naruto growled at them. Come on, have a backbone. What the hell would you know, kid? Tazuna said. Naruto made a dozen shadow clones. I know I'm not afraid to get my hands dirty. Hinata awoke laying against a stack of metal support beams. Tazuna sat on top of them looking over plans and drinking deeply from a bottle. Oh, finally come around? Hinata blushed and bowed deeply. I am very sorry, relax. The look on the brat's face was worth it. Plus you looked pretty cute when he carried you here. Tazuna said. Naruto-kun, he carried me? Hinata said. Of course, did you think you walked here while you were out? Tazuna said. Where is he now? Hinata asked. Tazuna jerked his thumb toward the end of the bridge. Several Narutos were carrying supplies to the workers. Handy trick he has. Would have been in trouble otherwise. So many works quiet cause they were afraid. He spit on the ground. Spineless bastards, I am sure they had a reason. Hinata said. Yeah, cause they lost their nerve. Without this bridge this country's as good as dead. He took a long drink. Guess while he's working I'm stuck with you as a guard. Think you can stay awake long enough to do that? I will do my best, Tazuna-sama. Hinata said. Tazuna looked her over and took another long drink. Sakura and Kiba came to take over guard duty in the late morning. Naruto and Hinata had training next and made their way to the part of the forest where they had practiced the tree walking exercise. Kakashi had given Naruto instruction to continue practicing by holding his position on the underside of a branch for 10 minutes, then repeat until he could do it 20 times in a row without falling. Kurenai told Hinata to work on her Byakugan by helping Naruto, though she suspected it was more because she felt bad for Naruto's treatment by his sensei. Naruto didn't waste any time. As soon as he thought he had his chakra right, he walked up the trunk and onto the branch. Hinata smiled. That was clearly something Kakashi didn't count on, his determination. Hinata shook herself. She couldn't let Naruto get ahead of her. Focusing her own chakra, she joined him on the branch, practicing maintaining her Byakugan and footing. Compared to some of her clan's training methods, it wasn't particularly difficult. By the end of 10 minutes, Naruto was sweating. By 20, his legs were shacking on the branch, and he practically fell to the ground when he let go. Naruto-kun, maybe we should break for lunch? Hinata said. We can do that. Naruto said. Of course. No one said we couldn't take a break, and we'll finish faster if we don't wear ourselves out right away. Hinata said. Alright, sounds good. Naruto said. Hinata jumped down and pulled a bento box from her bag. Inside were several slices of grilled fish. Naruto bit into one. This is good. I'm glad they didn't have much to work with, so I was worried about the taste. Hinata said. You always cook amazing stuff. Naruto assured her. Hey, dead last. Sasuke said, leaning against a tree. Shino was standing nearby. My apologizes. He insisted on coming and I felt it was best I accompany him. Shino said. Sasuke, what are you doing here? Naruto said. I want you to show me your jutsu. Sasuke said. I already told you I'll teach you if you teach me one of yours. Naruto said. And I said no way in hell. I am an Uchiha, the elite of the village. You should be begging on your hands and knees to teach me. He looked at Hinata. Instead of having a picnic with one of those pale-eyed freaks. Don't talk about Hinata that way. Naruto said. Did I upset the no-named loser? Fine, show me how angry you are. Well, do it right now. When I win, you show me your jutsu. Sasuke said. Fine, if you win I'll show you my ultimate jutsu, but if I win you'll teach me one of your fire ones. Naruto said. Like that'll ever happen, but fine. Sasuke said. Naruto-kun. What about your training? Hinata said. No problem, sparing is part of training, besides you said it was alright to take a break. Naruto said. This isn't what I meant. Hinata said. Shino rested a hand on her shoulder. This has been a long time in coming. It would be unwise to interfere. I am also curious about the outcome, but what if Naruto-kun gets hurt? Hinata said. I believe there is little risk of that. Come, we had better move out of their way. He led her to the side of the trees. Naruto faced Sasuke and drew a kunai knife. So what are the rules? None. Sasuke said and leapt forward, making hand signs. Fire release. Giant fireball technique. Naruto rolled to the side, throwing his kunai. The ground behind him exploded. Chunks of burned earth rained down on them. Naruto rolled out of the smoke. Sasuke spun in midair, deflecting Naruto's kunai and launching several of his own. Naruto forced chakra to his feet and jumped out of the way, grabbing a branch and barely managing to adjust his chakra and stick to it. Sasuke slid to a stop. Fire release. Phoenix Sage fire technique. Dozens of small fireballs tore through the trees, ripping branches from the trunks. Naruto dropped down just in time. Got you now, Sasuke said. He pulled several wires and throwing stars were yanked out of the fireballs. With a flick of his wrists, they spun around Naruto, wrapping him in the wire. Fire release, dragon fire technique. Flames raced along the wire. Just as it bit into Naruto's skin, the fire reached him and engulfed the blonde ninja. Naruto! Hinata cried. She tried to race to him, but Shino held her back and pointed to a tree behind Sasuke. Man, I'd have been in trouble if that was me, Naruto said, standing upside down on a branch. What? How did you get up there? Sasuke said, looking back at the wire. There was no trace of Naruto in the burning wire. It was a shadow clone. You know that fireball jutsu is powerful, but it gives your opponent too much cover, Naruto said. Fine then, I won't give you any more openings, Sasuke said, pulling another kunai and racing up the tree. Naruto jumped away, but Sasuke grabbed him by the ankle and slammed him into the tree, breaking the bark. He fell to the ground and rolled away a second before Sasuke buried his kunai into the ground where Naruto's head had been. Naruto stabbed his kunai at Sasuke's head. He blocked with a second kunai. Using the first for leverage, he spun, swinging his foot at Naruto. The blonde ninja bent backward, avoiding the attack. Sasuke brought his other foot around and grabbed the first kunai with his chakra, then used the momentum of another kick to send it straight at Naruto's head. You no-name loser, stay down. You're no better than that bug-brained idiot. Naruto let it cut his cheek to get inside Sasuke's guard, then drove his fist into the Uchiha's stomach. Sasuke punched Naruto in his shoulder. Off balance, Naruto tried to kick at Sasuke, but Sasuke was ahead of him and brought his knee to Naruto's gut. He grabbed Sasuke's leg and threw him before collapsing to his knees. Sasuke recovered and landed on his feet. Damn it! How can this clanless loser hold his own against me? I am a Uchiha. Think. His stamina is inhuman. I can't let this drag out. I need to hit him now. He glanced towards Hinata and Shino. Shino's insects were buzzing and swirling around him. Sasuke smirked. At least he could rile up the other losers. Or make him take a hit. He turned towards Hinata and Shino. Fire release. Great fireball technique. The fireball was several times the size of his first. Naruto sprinted towards Hinata and Shino. Shadow clone jutsu. Hinata saw a wall of orange just before the fireball hit. Her next thought was that she was on the ground. She staggered to her feet. The forest was covered in a smoky haze. Naruto! She called out between coughs. Hinata! Naruto croaked. She turned in relief, and nearly became sick. Naruto was sprawled on the ground. Most of his shirt was signed off. Angry red skin and blood covered his arms and chest. His forehead band had fallen over his eyes, but his face wasn't any better. His blonde hair was dulled with smoke and shoot. Oh God! Naruto! Hinata said. Looks like I won, loser, Sasuke said, walking through the smoke. Hinata slammed her hands into Sasuke's stomach, hitting every point she could remember to cause pain. Then an open palm strike that threw him through the smoke and into a tree, shattering it under him. She went in for another strike, but Shino stopped her. Hinata-san. Naruto needs help. Sasuke won't be causing any more trouble for now. Naruto. Her legs nearly went out. You are faster, go get Kurenai-sensei. Hurry, Shino said. As he finished, Hinata moved faster than he had ever seen her. He turned towards Naruto and examined his injuries. Shino. Naruto croaked. Yes, remain still, you have suffered severe injury to your torso, arms and head. Shino said. Are you and Hinata-chan alright? Naruto said. We are uninjured thanks to your actions. But I have a question. If you had used all of your clones to absorb the portion of the blast that would have hit Hinata, you would most likely have remained uninjured. However, you spread them out to also block the portion heading towards me. I could have easily dodged the worst of it, but your insects were out. They're like Akamaru, not humans, but still comrades. Didn't want them hurt in my fight. Naruto said. Comrades? A view of my clan's insects that few chose. He went to Hinata's pack and pulled out a jar of healing cream she had made. He quickly calculated it wouldn't be enough. He walked back and held out his hands. Insects began to swarm over Naruto. Hold still, my insects can dull the pain until Hinata returns with help. Was Sasuke hurt? Naruto said. Not by the blast, though I believe Hinata may have broken several of his ribs. Shino said. Knew she was stronger than me, Naruto said right before he passed out. Shino supervised his insects' work. I believe you are wrong in your assessment, Naruto. She is stronger because of you. The trees blurred as Hinata leapt from branch to branch, forcing chakra out her feet. The path back to Tazuna's house seemed impossibly long. She kept picturing Naruto in her mind, and each time the scene became worse. When she finally arrived at Tazuna's house and burst through the door, Naruto's image was just a gasping, burned skeleton. Kurenai was sitting at the table with Kakashi. They both stared and the panting Hinata. Naruto's been hurt badly. Hinata turned to run back, but Kakashi grabbed her arm. What about Sasuke? Please! Naruto needs help, Hinata said. Sasuke! Is he alright? Kakashi said. His hand was yanked off of Hinata. Kurenai held his wrist tightly. He felt the bone threatening to break. Let's go, Hinata.